Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Conversations with an Investor. We've got a returning guest, Big Mikey. He's back to discuss the world of tattoos, the world of TikTok, conspiracy theories part 2, and our latest trip up the Scottish Munros. What's up next? In his new orange jumpsuit. So if you're about any of the mountain ranges in Scotland and see a big, huge, giant guy in an orange outfit, don't worry, it isn't an escaped convict. It's just Big Mikey in his new attire. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Where do you want to start? Any particular topic that's came up? Tell you what was interesting was Bonnybridge. You heard that one before?
As in the Bonnybridge here?
Bonnybridge is the UF capital of Scotland. UFO. There has been more sightings of UFOs in Bonnybridge than anywhere in Scotland. So much so it's been a hotspot for a prolonged period of time that even the council were going to capitalise on it by creating a trail that led you to the UFO hotspot.
Is it?
I
have never ever fucking heard that.
Somebody had mentioned it in the comments in the last video. They were like, you need to check Bonnybridge, and I'm like,
what? The only thing I care about Bonnybridge is there was some Yahoo on that fucking kind of that program where you'd get married and they'd pay and film it.
Married at First Sight?
No, it was older than that. I can't even remember what it's called. Like one of my tattoo artist pals, he was on it too. But it was that. And they got
what
married.
Did they do?
They just got married at the local miners. Big baller.
Wait,
that's the only thing I know about Bonnybridge. Isn't it next to like Kirkintilloch or Kilsyth or something like that?
Yep.
Which one?
It goes closer to Kilsyth.
It's like just after the motorway. Come up to I think I've drove through it.
Yep.
I don't get exciting happen. Oh, apparently loads of exciting things happen.
Well, we obviously weren't looking up.
Holiday home.
We weren't looking up. I mean, I don't know if it beats shots for UFO alien interactions with finger in the bumhole, but it seems that people are pretty hot to trot with Bonnybridge.
Obviously, I care about Deckman, Livy.
I've got that one. So it says a town in Falkirk, Scotland, has gained notoriety for being a hotspot for reported UFO sightings. The frequency of the sightings has been referred to as the UFO capital of Scotland due to its unusually high frequency of reported UFO sightings in the area.
I wonder what the statistics of drug use is in that area as well.
Well, it must be the UFO kind. I mean, because a lot of people...
Just like that is the concentrated hotspot of where LSD is taken mostly in Scotland.
Think so.
I think we should cross-level these... Take the drug info and the UFO info, and if there's a little overlappy, I feel like we could rule that one out. Why the fuck would... What would be the interest in Bonnybridge or Falkirk, if you like? Or even fucking Deckman? There's nothing there. Nothing. There's let's say 6 hussies and a load of trees.
This is the thing with the UFOs is that, I mean, apparently there's certain energy spots around the Earth that have... significance, some sort of...
Well, there's loads of theories that there's loads of these sites around the world that are essentially markers. And there's like random shit that cunts can't explain, like why is that there? And it's almost like a map, if you like.
Roslyn Chapel's like that. Apparently the veil's very, very thin down there. Roslyn Chapel
comes up in a load of different things as well, because when you go down the Holy Grail path, that's where that all leads to as well.
That's it.
I've never actually been along. It's only along the road to.
I know.
What do you mean?
I've cycled past it.
You ever actually went to it though?
I had my own problems. I had a lot going on. The last thing I needed was a thin veil and some sort of interdimensional experience of any kind. I still had to cycle the rest of the way home, so I had no inclination to put down.
I know. I've never, because it's one of the ones. Can you see the sign? I'm like, I really need to go there one day, and I just never have. I have to actually check it one day. But there are a few roads lead there.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had the alien one leading there, but you know.
I mean, I don't know if it's big for UFOs as such, but it's more more kind of the spiritual element there.
Yeah.
So that's apparently where they ended up there on the Da Vinci Code.
Because that's where they traced the bloodline of Jesus to, or something like that.
Yeah, Mary Magdalene and
I went down her bloodline and found
Immaculate Conception.
This is it. Like, Ken nowadays, obviously,
Few people have dined out in that over the years as well, haven't they?
The what?
Few people have dined out in that over the years. That must be Immaculate Conception.
Aye, this is what I'm saying.
It was good enough for Mary. It's good enough for me.
Here, this is it. Okay, now I went out. I got drunk and I never cheated on you. God came and put a baby in me. Aye, very good.
It's the chosen one. It's God's greatest son.
You got smashed. You got pumped. You didn't want to tell Joseph, and now they've wrote a pretty extensive book on you.
Aye,
good effort, lass.
Aye,
good effort.
And he bought it. Like Joseph's
a yes man.
Joseph's like he's a benefit of the doubt guy.
Pussy bastard.
No, he gave you the benefit of the doubt. He's a sort of like, right. I can't confirm it exactly because I wasn't there, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
It was a while ago. It's like, you know what, Mary? I'm going to ask you once honestly, and if I find out otherwise, we're over.
He's played along with it.
Right, and he's brought up wee fucking Jesus as his own. And then he got nailed to a fucking cross. Do you
think it was Joseph just had enough? Or
that's it. He found out that Byrd wasn't his and nailed him to a cross.
No, I think what happened is the CSA had sort of been formed in the 33 years and started to chase his real dad, and God wasn't having any of that. He sat there paying child support.
Nah, no, me, mate. That stupid cunt down there put his name on the dotted line.
So listen, I've created this place in 6 days. This is the thanks I get. I
was actually recently, I can't remember how we got into the topic, looking up what Jesus' actual real name is. And it's fucking... the fucking signaling here is terrible. I'm sure his surname's something like Abramovich or something. It was odd. Ken...
Abramovich.
I'm sure
that would be fucking odd.
I'm sure it was something along the lines.
I've just put the laptop down. It's coming back out.
And obviously we westernised it all. So Joseph wasn't actually Joseph, it was Yusuf. But that Yusuf wasn't the first name, it was Sahan Yusuf. I'm sure it was Abramovich. It was Sahan like that. So I'm sure his real name was fucking like Jesus Abramovich or
Jesus
something.
of Nazareth.
No, that's not his actual fucking name.
The name is derived from the Hebrew, looks like Yusa, which means to deliver or rescue. Yusa ben Yusuf is the term Christ, is the title, not the name. It's translated from the Greek word meaning the anointed one or the chosen one. Yusa ben Yusuf. I was a guy who cleaned my van today, was called that. He was from...
Search Joseph's real name and you actually get the wee hang.
Oh, Joseph's real name?
Aye, that's
I thought you meant Jesus' real name.
Well, no, because you don't get any clear shit on it because of the fucking, the fucking Catholic...
What was his second name?
I'm sure it was like Abramovich or something, but just type in Joseph fucking real name, Jesus' fucking dad. Name. Whatever, I can't remember what I typed in.
Joseph.
Better right Rushki Tushki name, like.
Is he?
I went down a wee rabbit hole on lunch one day. Because I wonder what his actual fucking name was. Like, it's
Saint Joseph.
You must be finding something. I typed in one thing and got a clear bosh.
Have you got some dodgy search history? I mean, some of the...
Are you not finding it?
No.
Honestly, it was fucking... What did you search?
Joseph's Jesus dad name.
Jesus' old dad's name.
His old dad. Right.
I got signal. Hold it to the sky in this fucking black spot. I found it no bother.
Hey, come on in, let's see what you got.
Aye, but I've got 1 bar of fucking 4G. You're on the interweb.
That's true. Let's see if you can hook it up now.
Well, we said that last time you were going to share it with me, and I didn't think we ever did. We just got fucking Apple Jamie out.
Right. You're connected to the Wi-Fi? You searching for it?
2 seconds. Not connected. What is it? 2 Gen X?
Yep.
Right, I'm clicking it.
Shared.
Bosh. Right. We have the Wi-Fi, as they call it in Holland. Why is it not working? Oh, there we go. You can't. This is like a week in the jail loading up.
The only thing worse than no signal is when it says that you have signal and you've clearly got none.
Aye, or when you're buffering for 7 years.
Is that your phone that's gone, or is it mine?
That was mine there.
Was it?
I've just
I thought it was mine.
What?
Mate, you're at it.
No, honestly, lad, I fucking...
Nazareth. Joseph Nazareth.
He's not. His surname was not fucking Nazareth.
Hebrew Joseph, 1st century Jewish man, Nazareth.
No, it was from Nazareth.
I mean,
this is telling me all sorts of nonsense. Fucking Octavius is the biological fucking father of Jesus, according to historians. But Octavius was a Roman general, allegedly.
Well, this is the thing about the Roman Catholic Church, is they reckon that, you know, the Roman Empire never actually died.
No, it just became the church.
Just became the church.
Absolutely. Which is why they've got all that banging coin and money and all the fucking ancient art and history banter that
well, that was
they could only have if they were the Roman.
That was fiat. The fiat currency is Latin for you know, to decree or let it be done. So that was where the fiat comes from, and the fiat currency. They were the ones that said, "Look, we authorise this to take place, or we authorise it as money."
Joseph's real name. Aye, Yusuf Ibrahim.
Abraham's a bit fucking far away from fucking Abramovich.
Aye, well, you
it's hardly fucking Russian.
I was close enough. So, aye, Yusuf.
We were in the same fucking alphabetical letter.
Basically, his fucking name is Yusuf Ibrahim.
Right, so look, I think he's got a bit of fucking problems if Byrd's been impregnated by a celestial body. I think his surname's rather fucking low on the priority list in terms of Joseph. There's some questions that we need to ask you, brother, and we're going to make you a saint, but you're going to need to look the other way in some of these events that have took place.
So aye. So Yusuf Ibrahim, but he was known as Yusuf ben Yaakov in the Bible, or his Hebrew name. Why have they got so many fucking names?
They're all running around with new IDs.
Aye, well, this cunt's got fucking about 6 different names.
It was the old version of identity theft back then.
I just fucking make it up.
I mean, look, Mary's been impregnated by some dude she's claiming's God. Yusuf's running around with somebody else's ID. So it's all the same things are happening just 2,000 odd years ago.
And Mary's name's not even fucking Mary, it's Miriam.
It's close enough for the old New Testament. You want to hear one I never heard that I found earlier on?
Go on,
I don't know if you've heard of this one. The Black Knight satellite.
Black Knight satellite.
Yes.
It vaguely rings a bell, but I'm going to say no, because it could be. I might be picking up a fucking movie reference somewhere.
Well, a lot of these are listed in movies, so let's just give you the Black Knight satellite is a satellite that they reckon's of extraterrestrial origin. And it's observing all the ongoings on Earth.
Yes, I fucking have heard of this.
Yeah.
And it's just there. Is it not something like, it's quite a distance out, is it no?
I'll tell you just now.
Because I'm pretty sure it's like outside our orbit or some pish like that.
So it says the Black Knight satellite conspiracy theory is that a spacecraft of extraterrestrial origins is near the polar orbit of Earth and that NASA is covering up its existence and origin. The conspiracy theory continues several unrelated stories into one narrative. So a photo taken during the STS-88 mission, claimed by some to show the Black Knight satellite, is catalogued by NASA as a photo of space debris. The space journalist James Oberg considers it probable debris of a thermal blanket confirmed lost during the mission. This is back to UFOs were all swamp gas. It's just an easy fit. So it says here that
you could say anything back in the day though, because people weren't ready to fucking accept anything like that.
Well, when I was looking it up earlier on, I was like, I've never heard of this one, and I thought this would be worth a look, because I was like, it's very, like, if you look at the conspiracy theory stuff, it's rare that you get something that you've not heard about.
Yeah.
And this is what struck me strange. I'm like,
also, I was watching one the other day and guys were talking about it. You cannot find any actual pictures of any satellites. You cannot find a photo of a satellite. Okay, one of the ones up in orbit.
Yeah.
They're all computer renderings. No one has ever actually physically seen a photograph or footage or anything of a satellite. It's all computer imaging. All of them.
What's the theory behind that?
Just that, kind of people believe that, the people that believe we're inside something, that satellites don't exist, it's all just high altitude weather balloons with shit on the end.
Right.
Essentially. And that's what one of the guys is saying. He's like, Google it. Look, try and find a picture of a satellite that isn't a computer edited image. He's like, you will not find one.
How would you know?
What if it's a computer edited image? Because you can fucking tell.
How?
What do you mean, how?
Some of the stuff's...
Some of it's really good, but you can still tell. So if you've got a satellite of this hanging in space, cool, who took the photo? We've not been up in orbit kicking about fucking around for ages. They go to the space station and then they bounce back down. And apparently there's fucking thousands upon thousands upon thousands of satellites up there. Okay, and apparently it's looking quite junky.
Well, I mean, the other thing would be that how do you, like, would have reports saying like meteors coming in and hitting satellites that are in orbit? It would be a common occurrence.
But apparently it's not.
So what's Google Images got on the
on the horizon? It's all computer images. There's not an actual.
What are they taking the imagery with?
What do you mean?
So like you go to Google, Google Images is taking satellite imagery of the Earth. So it's Google satellites.
Well, there's that theory that all NASA stuff's edited, and if you take any images that's put up of our planet, you can put it in a Photoshop and fuck about with the saturation. It'll show you every single bit that's been edited in the photo. Every single bit. Because they've done it quite simply. Like a lot, like the first image NASA ever released to the planet, they've just, like, clouds are independent like a fingerprint. You don't get two clouds that look the same. This whole planet is scattered with clouds that are identical. They've just copy and pasted all over the camp.
This goes back to the bother that they got in about the moon landings. So one of the questions that came in about for the post earlier on was one of the guys had said that his daughter or boyfriend had said, "Look, they're trying to convince me that the moon landings were faked," and it's one of those ones where
depends who you listen to, because there's decent arguments for both parties. But I would say there is more evidence to suggest that it is fake than it is real. There's so many people that state you cannot go to the fucking moon, and then Buzz is now off his chomp and is telling you didn't go.
Yep. Okay,
and now he's got two minders with him at all times to fucking shut him up if he says something he fucking shouldn't. And again, though, this is the problem with any conspiracy theory. You've got even the guys that were there when they apparently were there when they were filming it. You could be talking shit. You know what I mean? Like, you could be lying.
Well, the photography was like, there's no wind in space. So how have they got the flag to have a wave in it?
Well, I spoke to a physicist about that, and with the motion of putting it in the ground, the vibration that was created could make the flag have motion.
What vacuum did they test that in?
Fuck knows. But again, this is the thing, like, you can ask the questions and someone can give you their output on it. They could be right, you could be right. You're never going to fucking know. But he says when they put it in, he's like, the thing that fucked him up is the dust.
The dust.
So when they're walking,
yep,
it's settling too fast for zero gravity.
Yep.
That's the only thing. He's like the flag.
Yep.
I think is explainable.
So he could come up. He can theorize why.
He could explain why the flag was in motion. The vibration, the action of putting it in would create, and there's nothing to stop that doing that. It would just happen.
They've shown you the lunar rover that lands.
Yeah.
And it's looks like a homework project made out of tinfoil. Yeah. And they go, this thing landed on the moon.
Yeah.
And they go, there's just
it's
no
tinfoil.
way. It's just that's what it looks like. It looks like tinfoil.
There's a millimetre of fucking mother's
wafer
pride tinfoil, happy shopper, stopping you.
Tunnocks tea cake.
Aye.
Material.
Basically, what the crack was. But the physics boy, he's like, it's a dust I can't explain. He's like, because it's settling too quickly. He's like, there's nothing there that should. They've got weighted boots on to keep them down. That dust should just
keep floating out. The other thing was,
and they play golf.
You see the imagery about they had so in space, on the moon's illuminated by its position relative to the sun.
Yep.
So that when we see it, it lights up as a half crescent or a full moon, and that type of thing. So when they were on the moon and the photography that was taken, the light source is coming from two directions.
Yep.
You wouldn't have that on the moon.
No,
because the only direction would be from the sun.
And the photography where they landed and where the planet is in the photos is in the wrong place. Because where they landed on the face of the moon, we would the planet would be above them, not over their shoulder, if you get me. So that's another one.
Is that like the first selfie, do you reckon?
100% must be. No, actually, I know when the first selfie. Well, I can't remember what it is, but there's the photo of the first ever selfie is documented. Like it was, I'm sure it was an American president, like in the early 1900s or some shit, that took the first ever selfie. I know that. I don't know why I fucking know that. That came up one day. It was like the first ever selfie. I follow one of these pages as like random historical photos that you'll never ever see. It's quite fucking good actually. The thing I want to ken is, right, so if Neil Armstrong was the first man to set foot on the moon, who filmed him getting out the fucking lunar module?
It's funny you say that because you see these shows. I've been asked a few times maybe I've been asked the same, like do the day in the life. Right, show me a day in your life. That'd be amazing.
Who the fuck is getting up to set up the camera and for the alarm clock to go off to let me jump out my bed? We were gonna. I was gonna do a YouTube sort of series of just like the day in the life of a tattoo artist type fucking thing, and that was gonna be one of the first ones. Was just and it wasn't really so much gonna film me. It was he had a concept for it which was quite cool, and it was just sort of wee spats. And it was just like more feet. Ken just like fuck it. He had an idea in his head, and then as you were driving down you'd pan up the van and you'd get out and blah blah whatever the fucking crack was. I don't know why we didn't do it. It just didn't materialize. But
why the feet?
He had an idea which when he explained it sounded quite cool. Just like a sort of joking and walking out your house because you've got kids, kicking a skateboard out the way or a fucking the idea he had, it was quite cool. Like I liked it. It could have been quite a decent wee sort of intro.
That'd be a bit different.
Aye.
And what was his thoughts on the moon?
I never asked him. But
the other thing is you see the body language when they landed back on Earth. The press conference.
No, I've not actually. No, I've not watched that. To be fair, I've seen them when they get pulled out the thingamajigger that splashes down, but I've not watched any press conferences.
They whipped out the survival capsule or sort of re-entry vehicle, whatever it's called. But they do a press conference, and people are looking at their body language, completely dejected, not saying anything, and really, really sort of subdued.
Okay.
And
I'm supposing if it did happen, coming back in at 125 mile an hour in a flaming tin can, you're probably going to be a wee bit cunted after that. Like,
you think you'd be buzzing, like you'd be sitting there.
I think you'd be buzzing when you hit the water, and then your adrenaline would wear off, and you'd be flattened.
You think you come back after an experience like that, and you're thinking, I cannot be bothered with a press conference.
Aye, basically, I thought I was going to die at least 700 different points coming through there. I'm fucking done.
I've been doing Mach 24 re-entering the atmosphere, and you want to ask me
arsehole is in
when
my
the
mouth.
last time I shat was. Aye, really cutting edge stuff.
Aye.
Well,
were there trees on the moon?
Some of the wild stuff, like I think of the things I heard about the moon. There was, I think I told you about the Russian scientists. They'd crashed a lunar vehicle. The Russians were during the Cold War. They actually went different ways in terms of their space programs. So the Russians left essentially the moon to America in terms of landing someone on the moon, and the Russians focused more on can you survive in space. So the Russians were really the leaders and proponents of the space station type thing, and they broke lots of records in terms of enduring in space and learning how the body adapts. Living in that environment, or living in a sort of survival environment that's within space. So the Russians took a different approach, and one of the times that they'd launched a vehicle to the moon. This thing, I don't know what Ruski got it the wrong way around. But anyway, this thing hit at disproportionately high speeds relative to the speed that it should have landed at, and this thing hit the moon at extreme velocity, and what they thought the moon was just a solid piece of rock, but the moon vibrated when this thing hit it, which put a question on, well, how is it possible that the moon's vibrating? And what they reckoned was that the moon, these two Russian scientists worked out that the moon had to have a mass of 30% or less of what it was considered before, and they thought, well, that the moon must be hollow.
And then you step into that world of mega structures. And you seen the film Moonfall?
No.
That's about that. The moon is a mega structure, which is where we came from. It's inside it. It's all a place, if you like.
Well, this was the thing with one of the whistleblowers in the American space program. He'd seen imagery that was created like a mosaic. We can't see the dark side of the moon. What he proposed was that from the information he'd seen, there had been vehicles that had went round the dark side of the moon and taken photography, and it essentially was like a pit stop area where the extraterrestrials would.
I've heard. So I was watching a thing with some guy from the either CIA or anyway some intelligence fucking department in the States. And he said the footage of the moon landing is fake, not because we didn't go there, because what we found the public weren't ready for. And he says there's structures, vehicles, spacecrafts, blah, 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 just there, abandoned.
Right. Well, have you heard of the Galactic Federation?
Yeah, I heard about a guy I was telling you, that guy who's apparently like a bodyguard for whoever goes and meets these fucking people here, there, and everywhere, and all that chatter. I'm sure, I can't remember if it was on here we were talking about it, or we were just talking about it.
We were. So the last time we were talking about someone that had said, look, I'd overheard the conversation because he was there as the heavy. Well,
Before you delve into this, apparently the moon emits its own light. If you take temperature readings in direct moonlight and in the shadow, it is warmer in the shadow and colder when you're in direct moonlight. So the sun creates heat, the moon apparently creates cold. The light is a cold light or some shit like that, which I thought was quite fucking interesting.
That's different.
Yeah.
Well, when you remember we're talking about Admiral Byrd.
Yes.
So Admiral Byrd was big in the comments last time, and I was thinking to myself, well, what's the story with Admiral Byrd? Well, Admiral Byrd had essentially claimed that Antarctica was full of
everything,
essentially mysteries that were being covered up.
Yeah, massively.
Everything from hollow Earth to extraterrestrials to hidden Nazi bases, all huge lands that weren't to be looked upon, mineral resources, extraterrestrial beings that he was in communication with, which had loads of controversy. But there was a guy that had found, when I was looking up the Galactic Federation, which tie back to Antarctica, So it was a guy in December 2020, the Galactic Federation came to attention in the media when a former Israeli space security chief, Haim Eshrad, claimed that the Galactic Federation has been in contact with Earth and the governments are in communication with these extraterrestrials, and it tied to Admiral Byrd's story about his diary in Antarctica. In Antarctica, if you believe the information that's been said about Admiral Byrd's diary, what it said is that he went on a mission and landed in he was flying over a certain part of Antarctica. There was sort of Foo Fighter shaped flying orbs that came up beside him. The radio transmission came through, hello Admiral, we're going to be taking over your flight and you'll be going to come into land, don't worry, we've got the controls. His controls didn't work and his plane was floated down. It went through a hole in the ice and ended up in the Crystal City. And in the Crystal City, the beings that were there, this was directly after World War II and Operation High Jump. So Operation High Jump, the United States government sent an armada, right? It wasn't a research facility. You don't send this amount of ships as a research campaign. They sent a military armada down there
just in case,
just to have a look around. And Admiral Byrd had came back and says, "Look."
He said, "Fuck off."
They basically says, "Look, we're really concerned about you playing with these atomic weapons, and the Galactic Federation are concerned about what you are doing. So you need to go report back to your leaders that we want you. You need to stop this." And that was the interaction where the Galactic Federation had passed the information to Admiral Byrd, and Admiral Byrd had to relay it back. And this was the thing that Admiral Byrd was told is that he was told that if he brought any of this to light, his family would be killed. Everyone that he knew would be killed. He was threatened with that, and that's why he waited till his deathbed to have it revealed in his journal or his diary, should I say?
Was his diary published?
His diary was found by.
I know it was found.
It was his
published.
Published as in
read it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's online.
It'd be an interesting read. If it's actually just someone's trying, again, they've published the fucking diary
as it was written.
Yeah, exactly. Just
I don't know.
Is.
I don't know. I can check.
Because it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting read.
I think there's videos. There's videos on Admiral Byrd's diary, which is apparently as much as you've not seen him writing.
I know you might find snippets in that, but it'd be good to if it's just someone's just managed to get their hands on it and be
Let's see.
That'd be fucking dynamite having that read.
Birds.
And whether it's true or he's off his chomp, it'd be fucking mint regardless.
Some storyteller. I mean, it's pretty.
Oh, aye. If it turns out to be bollocks, he's up there with rolled out. He's fucking.
This is a shows his entry. So I'm looking here. The secret diary of Admiral Byrd. It's on the webpage here, and it says a copy of Admiral Richard E. Byrd's forwarded by Dr. William Bernard, PhD, and it says reading through the following documentation, you should find a striking example of devotion. So it goes on to explain the times. The flight log is from the 19th of February 1947, and it was famously the Operation High Jump was closed down very, very quickly and without explanation, other than it was due to the weather. So something doesn't add up, but he says that so it says here we were crossing over the small mountain range and still proceeding northbound as best we ascertained. Beyond the mountain range, what appears to be a valley with a small river stream running through the centre portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. 10:05. I alter the altitude to 1400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. It's green with either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems to be different. I cannot see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth. This is incredible. Yet, there it is. Decreased altitude to 1,000 feet and take binoculars to better examine the animal. It's confirmed. It's definitely a mammoth-like animal. Report this to the camp. So it goes on and it starts to, it says here that the countryside below is more level and normal. Ahead we spot what seems to be a city. This is impossible. The aircraft seems lightly odd and buoyant. The controls refuse to respond. My God, off to our port and starboard wings are a strange type of aircraft. They are closing in rapidly alongside. They are disc-shaped and have a radiant quality to them. They're close enough now to see with markings on them. It's a type of swastika. This is fantastic. Where were we? What has happened? I tug at the controls again. They do not respond. We are caught in the invisible vice grip of some type. 11:35, our radios crackle and a voice comes through in English with perhaps a slight Nordic or Germanic accent.
Hello, Herr Byrd.
This is Das Führer. The message is, welcome, Admiral, to our domain. We shall land you in exactly 7 minutes. Relax, Admiral, you're in good hands. I note that the engines of our plane have stopped running and the aircraft is under some strange control and it's now turning itself. The controls are useless. 11:40 hours. Another radio message is received. We begin the landing process now. And in the moments, the plane slightly shudders. It begins a descent through, caught in some sort of unseen elevator. Downward motion is negligible, and we touch down with only a slight jolt. 11:45, I'm making hastily a last entry in the flight log. Several men are approaching on our foot towards our aircraft. They are tall with blonde hair. In the distance, a large shimmering city pulsating with rainbow hues of colour.
Right, so he says men, though.
Yeah.
So man. Not alien, man.
Well, if anybody wants to read this, I'll stick it in the show notes.
I want to fucking ever read that.
It's it's pretty extensive. So the thing with this is where it ties into the Galactic Federation, the Nazi base down in Antarctica, the 1,000-year Reich that was an Aryan race. So they believed it was a race that had a bloodline from extraterrestrials that had dominance or superiority over everyone else, and that tied into the hollow earth, because in Antarctica there seemed to be something going on that shouldn't have been possible, and that then ties back to the Galactic Federation.
I told you about that theory with the Catholic Church controlling entry to the earth.
No?
I'm sure we spoke about it last time. There's a guy, and he says he's found evidence on it, that there used to be, let's just say, open trade between the outer earthers and the inner earthers, and that was controlled by the Catholic Church, and they shut it down.
Who was the outer earthers?
Us. We're on the outer crust.
Right.
And then the inners, who are inside. And apparently there was open trade routes at one point, and the Catholic Church controlled all that, and I don't know, something to do with sites of some fucking churches and shit like that, which and they just kiboshed it apparently, or took control of it, or whatever the crack was. But then he didn't produce any evidence of this. He told me he had it, and then didn't show us. Went on this massive spiel, and then just, see you later, Troy, bye.
Yeah.
Right, cool, mate. Dick.
What about your pilot?
Oh, yeah, but yeah, so, because that debunks some of the flat earth shit. So, obviously, a lot of flat earthers believe that one of the reasons why they can confirm the earth is flat is because all autopilot systems on planes are programmed via a flat earth map. And flat earthers will hear this and go, oh, that's our map, the flat black. But no, so there's a term called the greater circle, which is how they plot flight paths, and they have to make a flat earth map from the globe map in order to plot routes. So it is technically, yes, programmed off a flat earth map, but not the flat earth map, a flat earth map created for the system from the globe. They have to take the circle and flatten it down in order to plot. And also flight paths, again, another one of the theories for flat Earth is that the flight paths don't make any sense. And a lot of the flight paths, when they transfer them from the globe to a flat Earth map, they start becoming almost straight lines, almost. And then I found out that there are roads in the sky which cost money to use, which is why some flight paths make absolutely no fucking sense, because it's the cheaper way to get to a place. So the flight may be longer and it may take a stupid fucking route, but that's because it is cheaper to go further, use more fuel, than it is to pay the boatman to cross a shorter distance. So that ticked off a couple of boxes as to some of the things that didn't add up. But I didn't realise that they had to pay to use the air.
Oh yeah, there's, the airspace of countries, so they charge for...
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why I didn't ever think of that before, but yeah, it makes sense once he said that. Because I was like, what? He's like, we have to pay to fly through air. He's like, it's not all just, I'll just go there. He's like, you can't. Some countries are either not allowed to, or it costs too much to use their airspace. So you find an alternative route. He's like, it will make the flight longer and we will use more fuel, but it'll still be more cost effective than to pay to cut through their bit. I'm like, okay.
Have you seen that one, the Emirates flight that flies over the North Pole?
Well, they have to use a completely different navigational system as well. So they have to use a grid system, because when you get up near the magnetic pole, all their shit stops working. So they've got a thing called a grid system, which they use in order to navigate the upper hemisphere, because your compasses just fucking do that. They don't do nothing. They just shite themselves. And I don't think their GPS system works very well up there either. So they've got this other system they have to switch to. I'm assuming it is...
There's no satellites.
Eh?
Is that because there's no satellites?
Yeah, well, or there's that as well, aye. So fucking... It was quite an interesting chat, like, because one of the pilots was just a commercial pilot. Another guy flew for the RAF and the New Zealand Air Force and then commercial. And he was the guy who was telling you he was going to go fly for the Antarctic Research Division, but can't due to health issues.
Yep.
So he was a very intelligent man, very good to talk to.
It'd be cool. I mean, it's that sort of sense of adventure. You look at some of the things, like, I don't know if you remember the explorer Admiral Fines.
Yep.
And he was the first one to go from the bottom of the Earth to the top of the Earth. Yep. I think he called it transglobe exploration.
Aye, well, he can call it whatever the fuck he wants. He was the first to do it. Huh?
And it's like, well, how did he do that on a flat map? How do you get there? Like, surely it would be, I don't know how you do it. How do you go around a ball on a flat Earth?
Oh, right. If the world's flat,
Aye.
Well, you would just have a point of origin to the middle, essentially.
But how would you go around Antarctica? Like, for instance, like, so
well, it depends. Well, this is where your belief system comes into play, because if you believe it's a continent, like we're shown on a globe Earth,
yep.
Then, but this is as well, like, if that's the chat, I mean, I know we're not allowed to go there for whatever reason, but can you be able to go to, like, fucking South America? So you could go from Argentina, from Cape Town, in like 2 hours, but for whatever reason you're not allowed to do that. You've got to fucking spend 24 hours going around instead. Whereas if you to circumnavigate Antarctica, like Captain Cook tried to do back in the day, because he tried to prove it was a continent,
yep.
And he couldn't. Spent years doing it. He's like if it's a continent, I can't go around it.
Right.
Whereas he did the North Pole and he bought it. I think it only took him a couple of weeks, but he could not go around Antarctica at all. But again, he was also a drunken fucking sailor. Wasn't
bashed.
I can't. Was it? No, it was because am I right in saying when Columbus found America, he wasn't fucking looking for America, was he?
Well, the story goes, what we're told is that Columbus wanted to find the edge of the Earth
and
found America, which is quite cute, quite neat, isn't it?
Aye.
Just, I'm going to find the edge of the Earth. Boom, I didn't find the edge, but I found this big,
land of opportunity,
land of the free. And you just kick out everybody that's there, all the Native Americans.
I know they got it tight, like. So it depends what you believe.
Did you ever see the Easter Island So Easter Island's got the big, huge
the monolith
skulls or heads, and they've excavated them.
They're fucking huge,
40 feet down.
Huge,
but the body's there. It's not just a head.
That's the whole fucking thing. Okay, because as well, why would you carve that and then bury it in 40 feet of fucking mud?
You wouldn't.
This is where you came across the mud flood chat. Great mud flood.
The Great Mud. I've seen a few videos about it.
Because loads of buildings are being excavated, and they're finding floors, stories upon stories of good architecture, pillars. Why the fuck would you bury that? You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then just fill it in. Like, why?
Would you see the guy? You see the guy in Turkey that was. Well, it's funny how these things come about. Guy in Turkey is like trying to build an extension in his house. Okay. Ends up like trying to dig the foundation. Comes across like a cavity.
Okay.
Ends up digging out to the bottom of the cavity, and it's now, I think, I'd be butchering remember it, but like 12 stories deep.
Shit.
Like a dugout inner city.
Like, is this a separate one to
with that Göbekli Tepe?
That's the one.
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe is the
because that's in Turkey as well, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
same principle as that.
With the same design that's on the monolithic structures in Easter Island, with the big heads and the hands that are over the navel. That's in Göbekli Tepe, and it's in Egypt, right? Okay. And the carbon dating, they can only carbon date biological materials, so they use C14 dating.
Yeah.
Now, what it means is that when something's biological, it'll absorb a certain rate of carbon, and that carbon then, over time, will have a decay. Yep. So you can measure how long it's been there.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't measure the stone, so they're using the biological material that they find that's round about it. And what they've found is that the timeline doesn't add up with what the mainstream idea of Egypt is, what the mainstream idea of Easter Island is, and then Göbekli Tepe's the one.
Older.
Yeah, the Göbekli Tepe is the one that's put the spanner in the works. But if they excavated it out, it seems to have been filled in, and we've got the same diagrams, the same design.
Yeah.
So someone's used exactly the same design in Turkey, Easter Island, which is in the just off the South American
in the middle of
Pacific sort of coast.
Yeah.
2,000, I think it's 2,000 miles off the coast. So not anywhere near Turkey.
No.
And it's also not anywhere near Egypt.
No.
So how have they managed to navigate this? And all the ancient stories are that after the Great Flood, there was a supreme being that had taken the 7 masters around the world and spread the knowledge for civilization to rebuild itself.
Yeah.
But there was this whole story behind it, and what these rocks and symbols are is signs of the pre-Diluvian advanced civilizations, and it shows you them at all different points in the world. But it was really Columbus that sort of went looking on a flat earth looking to find the edge, and he's that was when America was found. Just seems to be that where something doesn't add up at all.
I was watching a guy, a sciencey type lad, and it was quite. Well, I actually sent it to you. Ken, the boy that explained, he's got a rough theory on the firmament about the oxygen and what temperature it freezes at, and then the fucking waters above, and Ken. Not because obviously you hear the term firmament, and everyone thinks we've just someone's put a glass bowl over us. Like who made the bowl? The
it's a snow globe. It's a snow globe sort of idea, isn't it?
Yeah. And he's not saying whether it's flat or round, because regardless whether it's flat or round, we have the ozone layer, we have the atmosphere, we have oxygen in the air. And his theory, because obviously what's the atmosphere made up of? O3, which is oxygen tripled, if you like, on itself. I can't mind the specific term of it. And oxygen freezes at negative 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Space is negative 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So where the space meets the Earth, theoretically could freeze the oxygen, which then would create... And when oxygen freezes, it's light blue, sky blue colour, which would then clarify why our sky is sky blue. And then the waters above, theory, is it would be liquid oxygen. As it warmed when it came back down, it would then just turn back into a gas and refreeze and vice versa, and they would just have that ongoing process. So that was quite a cool theory. Could be complete bollocks, but at least he's fucking trying to explain if there is how it could be and what the crack might be.
Yeah.
Because what is the chat? How, if we can pass in and out and the atmosphere is just whatever, then how come, like, what holds our oxygen in place? What stops, what creates the ozone layer and all this shit? Like, what is the chat? How is there, if there isn't well, let's just say a membrane, if you like, how does shit no just fuck off?
Gravity.
But no one can explain gravity. Nobody. There's no scientist that can explain gravity. None.
Well,
Zero.
Going on to Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar, when he back engineered the UFO, and they called the sport model in Area S4.
Yeah.
He had one of the things he was discredited for was he came out and says that there was an element. That element was called 115.
Yeah, the fuel.
And this was a heavy metal that wasn't in our periodic table.
Yeah.
And he said in 1989, this thing creates gravity in a way that we don't understand.
But is he calling it gravity because that's all he can link it to in a sense? Or is it just that kind of, it could be like... So
what he was saying at the time was that the gravitational pull is that the thoughts that were widespread and considered right at the time was that what created gravity was mass, so that everything had a gravitational pull and it found balance in the universe, and that smaller mass would be attracted to it, and that would be held in its sphere.
That's essentially magnetism, though.
It's similar to magnetism, but what was the difference with this one is that, let's say gravity is a form of magnetism, for lack of a better word.
Yep.
It's drawing things towards it. Magnetism is slightly different in that it needs to draw metallic things, where gravity attracts mass. So it's anything of mass is pulled in via gravity. But when you have what they reckoned was the bigger something was, the more gravitational pull it had. Well, Bob Lazar had said this machine, this UFO.
I'm like, what the fuck is that noise?
The gravity's playing havoc with Mikey's pockets, pulling the money out of there right now.
As he's going, so it's magnetism.
Isaac Newton's saying, like, you can't explain gravity. Right on cue, Mikey's pockets are getting emptied.
Fucking emptied.
Just doof, doof, doof. But what was happening on that spaceship was that it was creating a gravity wave, and how Bob described it was that what it was doing was creating a wave shape round the ship, and what it was doing was it was pushing in the folds of what we would call space.
Yep.
And how he described it, he says, imagine you put a bowling ball on a mattress, right? And what you would have is, imagine you had two bowling balls, you got them close enough, they would they would lean the mattress into each other, and they would meet in the middle. He says what this thing's doing is, imagine that you've got the bowling ball there, and the bowling ball's a spaceship, and it's creating a wave out in front of it, and you push down in the mattress, and the ball will fall into it.
Yeah, I get you,
well, that's what it's doing. He says that's a wave, and it was like, nah, the guy's completely cuckoo, completely nuts. Fast forward to 2016, they found 20. It's actually gravity waves, because the whole idea of gravity was that it was just, like a mass equal gravity, that it couldn't be created. And Bob Lazar's like, that's not the case, because this is how these discs are flying through. They're essentially closing the gap of space between them using this gravity wave emission. So
it's kind of similar to the black hole theory type chatter, how they just take point A and point B and bring them.
That's called that's called a Rosenberg bridge, or a wormhole. Most people know it's a wormhole is that you would take 2 points in time, close them together, and you would create a little tube, if you like, or a wormhole, and you pop through, and you could cover, like any infinite amount of space that you liked, as long as you had the technology to
do that,
pinpoint the two places and bring them together.
Because as far as I'm aware, like no one can explain gravity. Like, I know you're saying they found this element that can manipulate like gravity, but apparently there's nobody that can physically, mathematically be like, this, gravity is this. This is what it is. Because again, it's like so we're on a ball.
Yep.
Australia right now, there's probably an oil tanker that weighs 300 million billion tons stuck to the bottom. So it's strong enough to hold the boat there, and there'll be a seagull flying about above it. So strong enough to hold a boat to the fucking surface, but weak enough that a tiny little bird can fly above it. So it's a bit bizarre how. If that can hold that because it's that strong, how can that tiny little weak bird beat it, but a ship can't?
Well, the thing being is that first of all, the bird's not flying through. It's flying through essentially a fluid. It's flying through air.
Yeah.
So it has resistance. Another thing is the weight of the bird relative to the power of its wings. It can interact with that resistance, where the oil tanker can't do that. It's sort of governed by the laws of gravity.
Upside down. If the laws of gravity are in place, they're in place for everything. Do you know what I mean? So if a bird, whether it's motion or not, can go this way, surely the boat can also go that way.
But it's been drawn into the centre. So everything's been drawn into the centre. That's what the idea with gravity.
I looked into a few things and I'm just like, there's far too many.
What do you think it is then? Because that's...
Well, this is the thing, no one can explain it. As far as I'm aware, gravity is what's making us stick to the fucking ground.
Yeah.
That's as far as I'm aware. But then you're looking at the science of it and no one can actually actively explain how we're on the fucking ground. Gravity is just this word that was invented to explain how we're no fucking floating.
Well, Isaac Newton was the guy that worked out what gravity was when the apple fell from the tree and landed in his head. that was where it all stemmed from.
He came up with a word after a head injury.
I mean, not a spectacular one. I mean, an apple's no. It wasn't like he'd have came up with something better than that.
Though, and he wasn't out fighting, defending cunts. He was sitting under a tree, pondering how to fucking make himself fucking rich.
I wonder what the deal was back then. You know, you're sitting there going, the king needs me to sort of go and fight a war. And, you know, I'll come up. I'll say that an apple fell in my head.
Eureka!
Seems pretty outrageous. You ask me.
Fucking must have been easy to be a clever cunt back in the day, Ken, before folk figure shit out. You could just come up with anything. You didn't need to prove it, you know what I mean? You just you could just say it.
I mean,
this is a crack.
What do you make of you ever seen Da Vinci's stuff where he's written backwards into things and he's written geometric codes into like his designs and drawings?
He vaguely yes and no. Like because he had some really. Did he not have shit about flight and all sorts of weird and wonderful sketches and that?
He did the sketches of like the first idea of a sort of like a gyroscopic flight machine, which we would call a helicopter.
Yeah. Aye.
So you know he was way ahead of his time, like way ahead of his time. That was another thing that came up about the Dark Knight satellite.
Okay,
is that they reckoned that Nikolai Tesla was getting information, radio wave transmissions from the satellite, and that was how he had obtained such fantastical information, because he claimed that he could tune into the Akashic record. The Akashic record is all the knowledge of everything that's ever been, all stored in the the Akashic ether, and he was able to access it.
How cool would that be?
And apparently they think that it was from this Black Knight satellite. So that was where he got all these sort of, once you understand that the universe is, electromagnetic in nature and we perceive it in material, then you'll understand what the universe actually is when you start to look at everything as energy, frequency and vibration.
Yeah.
And it comes back to things like the pyramids and some of these, monoliths and these huge stones that are just beyond sort of comprehension. I was looking at the Machu Picchu, so that have you seen the pictures of Machu Picchu? So
I'd love to go.
Well, I'm up for it. If you want to go,
game lad.
They've said that Machu Picchu's got stones at the bottom, which was the original building material, and it shows you that there's been 3 different builders at 3 different points in time, and the stones are huge at the bottom, and they're also built with a slight incline in them, and they were there to make it earthquake proof, so that they couldn't be shaken out of place. Okay. And the design of the stones was that stone could only fit in that place. Yeah. So they weren't sort of universal stone shapes, but they were cut specifically to fit into that area. And then you can see as each builder's attempted to the next generational builder, the next civilizations came to building it, but pre-Incan times. So the Incas had built the stones, but they didn't have the technology to cut them into the shapes. They were much smaller than the original ones that were there.
Top,
They're fascinating to look at.
One of my mates has been there.
What'd they say?
Said it was fucking awesome.
Imagine what the energy's like there.
Be wild.
Just to see that for yourself, like to have eyes on. Because that's the thing with like in this day and age, it's easy to look up pictures. It's easy to, you can debunk this, it can be that. Like, go and lay your eyes on something.
This is like, well, even like with you with the fuck when I says I wanted to start boxing off the Monroes, you see the pictures for the top, I want that in my head. I want that in my fucking eyes. That picture is mint. I want to see that shit with my own eyes. Can being in places like you're saying Machu Picchu and fucking fuck, I can't even think off the top of my head right now, but there are places like even that PR1 in Madeira. I want to fucking see that unbelievable fucking experience. And like you say, places like that of actually like historical significance, I think it would be fucking mint. Especially if you were able to do it in a way where it wasn't like Disneyland. And
it's all these things.
I don't know if you can book Machu Picchu, but do you know what I mean? Like, just can go up at 3 fucking o'clock in the morning when nothing else is there. You know, I don't know.
Can you imagine what like talking about your Monroes? What an experience that was.
That was a hoot, mate. How good fun was that?
Wild. That was the 3 worlds.
No, it was. It wasn't like it was. we entered 3 different dimensions on that fucking hill. That was crazy. I was saying to Charlie, I was like, when we're walking up, we're like, we've overdressed. And then we were adequately dressed. It turned out that at the start, fucking, like, I think it's not going to be too bad. And then you come out of that bit and you're like, oh, fuck. Okay,
it was when you started to see, like, so we'd left from the car park. We climbed up to sort of the first trail bit, and it was like we were cooking. I mean, I was like, I had to take my jacket off. I'm like, I am absolutely roasting. We got to the first bit, and it wasn't until we got over the first sort of elevation, we could feel the wind, and then you could start to see the slush.
Patches of ice and patches of snow.
Wee signs that things were changing.
And then the trail vanished.
It was gone. It was like, literally, it was the Heart Hill of mountains, because you just, like, what was there is totally different, and this bit's you've entered a new world.
Well, like you were saying, when we're on the hill and you're just like, we've done 3 levels. It's like a computer game. Level 1, calm, easy breeze, slight drizzle. Level 2, ice and wind. Level 3, hell, onslaught, minus 15, 54 mile an hour winds. No path.
So
path gone.
I remember looking up at you and Dean, and I was thinking, man, I'm game for it. I'm up for it. But I was looking and I thought, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we were like, nah, boy, because it was treacherous. I mean, wild. Because there was no clear path up. It was solid ice.
Well, like I said to you, because I've always wondered, like, how do cunts get lost on a hill? You're going up and down, and it wasn't to that point when I'm like, at this point, when the fog had set in, you could walk in any direction. You didn't ken, but you've no point of reference at that given point. You're just in a cloud with no, like, we came that way.
And it's like you see some of these like things where people have been caught on like a ridge. Like, we were up at the top of the ridge and walking along the ridge line, and it's
we didn't know
snowing.
if that was. Well,
we could have broke away at any point. Like, you know, you see some of these videos, and it's like they've literally went and put their pole, and the entire edge has just fell away. It's so easy because it looks like solid ground.
I was telling my mate earlier, because he popped in the shop, brought me a coffee in, because he's done Ben Lomond, but during decent weather. So I was like, right, so the path comes up there. We couldn't see that bit, so we've gone straight up there. When you get to the top of there, it is just a sheer drop off the other side, which we didn't know. And then we seen guys through the fucking mist, and we were about 30 foot above the path, and had to go back down again. But like you say, and I had to take my glasses off. I had no visibility. I couldn't fucking see. I had to just focus on your orange stripes, because I'm just like, we're at the top. There's certain death here. We don't know if it's rock or if it's fucking snow. These guys are fucking miles down. It's like, right, glasses are follow the orange stripes.
The funny thing was, I reckon we actually had a better time of it, because the path that we took were slightly sheltered for the wind, because it was full force
it was fucking,
on that edge. and we came round and went up the side. So we're still getting battered by it.
Just not as bad.
But it was like the path that you'd have took, you'd have just been completely exposed.
You were just getting fucked out.
It was that bad. I mean, I remember pulling my hood because I was like, my face is getting absolutely thrashed with 50 mile an hour wind, with sleet hitting into you like mini paintball bullets. I'm like, wow. And you just had to pull your hood over. And that's where you're maybe not got your full peripheral vision. You're just sitting there on the next step.
You're like
next
a horse
step,
with
next
blinkers
step.
on. You didn't care what's happening.
So I was, and like we say, it was like we packed crampons. See at the bottom, see if somebody said to you, need crampons, you'd be like, away you go.
You clown.
No chance. And then at the top, we were like, oh, we need to get the crampons out. It was that much sheet ice.
Or even like at one point, obviously you were ahead, but Dean slipped on the way back down. And luckily he was a wee bit over and his arse caught the lip of the path. But if he'd missed that, there's nothing for at least 1,000 feet, just a hill and rocks. That's why I was like, right, I'll let you go in the middle, and then at least if anything happens, I can potentially try to grab you. Worst case scenario.
That was sketchy.
He done well. Like.
He done well. Really
Basically
well.
became a fucking skier on the way down.
He was
a fucking mountain goat.
He was the amount he saves, he could be better than any Premier League goalkeeper.
Oh, aye.
It was more the case of I don't know if he was making his way down, or it was controlled descent, or he was just literally had no grip and it was chaos. But he was just keeping it in a straight line.
Done well though. He done well at the up line. He done really well. Fucking crampons are actually shit hot. That's the first time I've ever had to use them, and they were really good.
Aye.
Shite on snow, great on ice.
Especially that soft snow. It's different if it's hard packed.
Aye, hard packed.
Close to the ice.
Doesn't fucking do that.
When it's slush or anything, it's pointless. Yeah, but on ice, they're different.
But see, that experience, because that was my first Munro, actual qualified mountain.
Yeah.
And see, other than the view from the top in the summer, I think based off that, I would say it's more fun in the winter. Because the summer, the walk up's just going to be hot and relatively easy.
Yep.
And you get the nice view. I don't think it's overly... I don't think there'll be... unless some of the ones where you've got to climb, you have to actually do some mountaineering and it's a bit sketchy. I think it's just a walk, if you get me.
You get some of the steeper ones, like, for instance, we were talking about doing the cobbler. The cobbler's a bit like that.
Yeah.
The cobbler is one that you look at it and you go, that can't be possible to climb that without ropes. And then you get up and you're scrabbling up it and you get to different bits. And when you look at people that are going up it, they just look like ants that are climbing up the side of a hill.
Yeah.
You go, it's not possible. It just visually looks extremely difficult. When you get there, it's actually quite good fun.
Yeah.
But there's bits that you need to sort of scrabble and, shuffle your way up and just sort of find wee bits and make your way up. But the Three Sisters is good. Like if you want to do one, it's a bit challenging. Like see, working your way down a ridge line. That's pretty cool. And you really probably want to do that in the summertime where the ground's got a good chance of being there when you take the step.
It's actually the fucking...
Instead of having to poke it with your stick, like you're going to stay there, you got to...
So is that what you do on the Arak Alps and you go along the ridge lines to each one?
No, so the Arak Alps, it's...
Because my neighbour that we nipped in the day, because for two of them, kind of the twos that are actually Munro, you've kind of got to go back on yourself, and then because the path's almost the same and then you've...
So you go through it. It's like you get to the glen, and in the glen you've got one on one side, one on the other side, and one straight through.
Yeah.
So it's like the path through the glen is a path you can go to one, the other, or the one straight ahead.
I get you.
So you could go one to the left, up, then down, and up the other one, and then back and round and down.
Yeah.
So you could make your way around it, but a lot of people just walk and go up one, back down, and make their way from the middle path. But there is...
paths you can go.
But there is routes you can go. Just depending on how you feel. There's used to be an old waterworks up there. So there's actually an old waterworks path that's a lot of people they don't use it. It's a bit more adventurous because the first sort of 500 meters is just switch back through a forest. Okay. The last time me and Dean done that, it was like the same. We were going through the woods and had stripped to literally t-shirts and then see what it was like at the top. It was more snowy but less windy.
Yeah.
So you were literally up to our knees in snow. Couldn't see a
the one
path.
you done with the photos you'd sent me, and you're fucking like waist deep?
Literally covered in fog. Couldn't see a thing. Couldn't find the path. There was nothing visible because it was just completely covered in snow. He came back to the valley, and you were like, "Oh, this is not bad." And then you went in the woods, and it was like you'd never been. It was like there was not a stitch of snow.
It's fucking good fun, like.
And it's amazing just to think, like, in a few hours, like 3-4 hours, you can go and experience the 3 different worlds on one climb, and it's here.
But even the weather, and then how it was at the summit, nothing.
Wild.
Nothing.
What about with the break? What about the divine?
That's what I mean.
The divine break in the wind.
We're getting hammered, and we're at the point now where we have no cover. We are fully 100%, 360 degrees exposed, and we had nothing. No wind. So silence.
We were getting battered all the way up. The last push, the last part of the ascent, we were getting hounded so much so we've walked round the other side to try and get a little bit of shelter. Where I say a little bit of shelter, I'm using that in the loosest possible terms because we're still battered.
Remember, dialed it down to 49 miles instead of 54.
And we get to the top, and we're making our way along, and when we get to the peak,
nothing, just all
stopped.
And then the minute we got 12 feet from the summit, it started again.
Yep, just opened up. It was like the divine mountain gods were like, well done, lads. Aye, well done,
5 minutes.
You can have you can open up your peanuts now and get a wee drink of juice before. It
was fucking surreal, like.
It was good, mega. Looking forward to doing more.
Fucking right.
Aye, good.
That's why I went. That's why, because I wasn't sure. So the cobbler isn't a Monroe, but it's iconic. Like you say, it's iconic. It's one that kind of everyone knows.
Like if you'd done the cobbler, like you could go and do the cobbler, and if you were going to let the shorty pass for not meeting the 3,000 feet, you give the cobbler a pass because it's close enough and it's a cracker. You look at it and you go, it would be like, you get the minimum height requirements. Right. See if you're going to let somebody slide in, that would be the one you'd be like, when you go, lad, like, up on your tiptoes.
Like I said, I found out actually my father has done all of them.
Aye.
Every Monroe. He's dead now, but he did. I used to cycle to the hill, camp, climb it, camp, cycle back.
Because there's a lot of them that are like, some of them you can only access by canoe and stuff like that.
Aye, but why the fuck would you cycle to? He stayed in Edinburgh.
He cycled for Edinburgh.
Cycled to the hills.
Right.
Why? Some of them are a fucking distance. But that was the crack, apparently. I says to him, I was like, I'm going to try and box for them. She's like, aye, he'd done that. Yep. She's like, I'd cycle. I'm like, what a fucking psychopath. Yep.
Have you looked up any of them that you fancy doing? Is there any of them that really jump out to you?
No, so there's a couple. I looked up the other night because I was like, right, what are the 10 easiest, if you like? And I'll start with them because some of them you can do a couple, like Arak Alps, you can do 2 in a day type thing. And there's 2 lots that are the same name, but one's at Loch Leven, one's at not Loch Leven, Loch Erna. Anyway, there's 2 that have same name, but they're different fucking places, but they are the same fucking name.
Ben Vorlich.
Can't mind. But they've got, there's 2 mountains of identical names, but where they are is different. And I don't really understand that. And I don't know if they're maybe part of the same range or whatever the chat is anyway. So I was like, I'll start boxing name off, because some of them obviously, as you go up the numbers, there is a bit of climbing involved. So I'm going to have to develop as we get up the fucking, into the 200s, if you like, and I actually have to, because some of them you can't just walk up, and some of them are challenging. And even doing Ben Nevis would be mint, but there's that other way to Ben Nevis, that fucking sketchy, it's like almost a ridge line to the top. Like, that would be mint, but I'm not going to attempt that now. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe do another 2 before I fucking...
I'd be sound. Be all right.
Probably, but...
Fine. You figure it out as you go.
YOLO.
You figure it out as you go. I remember doing Ben Nevis early in the morning. You know, and I was like, I'll be back. You can get the breakfast on. And Mick dropped me off. I'm like, just drop me off early doors and I'll go and hike up myself. And was up there, was like a moonscape at the top, like really, really like unusual amount of just boulders at the top. I thought, this is a crazy, crazy peak.
It's in the top 10 easiest.
I phoned down, like, it's just long.
Yeah,
it's just big. Long. It's like, it's but there was people. When you see people and just massively underestimated it. I was people I was seeing like it was warm, like the sun was out as I was coming down, and I took sun cream up with me.
Yeah,
and it was like, man, I can feel this heat. So usual things, if it's long, you're going to have done the steel falls. So across the steel rope bridge, the steel falls. I'm sure Harry Potter was filmed there.
Okay. So
it was the steel falls that we did with the kids. We had done Ben Nevis when we were up there. All cool stuff. And I remember coming back down from Ben Nevis, and I thought, right, I'm touch and go for water here. And I'm like, I've got 3 litre camel pack and 2 like 750ml bottles of water. And I'm thinking, I've used quite a lot of water because it was warm.
Yeah.
And there's people going up and they're like, we've got a 330 ml of water, a pair of Nike Air Max. I've got proper sort of Adidas Terex hiking trainers on, a backpack, all the kit, sun cream, first aid kit. And I'm like, have you got this? I'm like, no. And it's getting warmer as they go on. I'm like, you're going to fry up here.
It's like the cunts though on the way down for Ben Lomond. Ken, the TikTok hikers that have just decided to get all their gear and away up they go. But they go get a fright. Like that cunt had a suit jacket on and trousers. Where are you going, lad?
The guy that looked like he was
Italian. He was foreign mind.
I thought he was French. He looked French.
He wasn't local.
He looked like he was going for a cafe reservation. He was looking for a coffee house.
Aye, fucking cunt's got lost.
He's on the wrong mountain.
Yeah, he's got to get a fright. Like their dress shoes are not going to be adequate.
I remember seeing a Japanese lassie on Conic Hill, and it was must have rained really heavily. And it was muddy, like slippy muddy.
Yeah.
And this lassie's like white dress coat, tights, white trainers, like the sort of designer trainers, Japanese. I'm like, you have no idea what you're getting into.
They're going to be fucked in.
Like, it was slightly tempting to go up and see how far she would get, because I'm like, talk about out your depth. I don't know what they think.
They just, we've heard this is fun, we'll just go do that. They don't think they think too much into it.
Have you seen the video of that guy sliding down that muddy path? And he's the same. He's got like he goes for a hike and his pals are videoing it, laughing at him, and he's trying to get grip. He's got his Nike Air Max and Adidas, and
fucking down he goes.
And he keeps trying to get up. It's like, mate, I would just slide all the way there. You're in now.
You're muddy.
And he's raging, wants to go back to the car. It's like, I think you sort of like it's your results baked in at this point. I don't think there's anything you need. You're not going to salvage this.
Well, my client today, him and one of his mates done Ben Nevis, and he was saying there's a bit with a stream or something, or a waterfall or something along those lines, and they would kind of made a cunt, so they're filling up their bottles and having a drink at the stream and all this shit. And like he's like, honestly, about 20 meters up, there was a dead deer. Just that it'd been clearly not fresh. There was like no hair on it. The thing's all fucking burst like a fucking blown up balloon. And he's like, great, we're going to be ill. Yeah. They were fine, but it's not what you're wanting. Like,
I mean, it's one of those situations. I mean, I got caught on the Three Sisters with very little water, and it was a rough day out. It was rough, and you get to the point where your kidneys.
I think you didn't plan on doing them all that day.
Nah. So I thought we were going up to the Hidden Valley and back down 2 hours. It was like, no bother, scoosh this.
Wait, it's the Hidden Valley? Is that where that is? I didn't know that.
Just along from the meeting of the three waterfalls. There's like the 3 pools that's in Ballachulish, and there's a car park there, and you go along, and then you can park. It's like 5 minutes away, and you can go to the.
Because I was looking at one the other day. Do you go down like metal stairs at some point or something?
There's a bridge. I had metal stairs and bridge.
See, I assumed that was up. I thought it was way up north.
You remember? No, if you're going to Glencoe,
aye,
just past Glencoe. So past Glencoe, you're on the 82, and then there's you remember where Jimmy Savile's house was, the white one? They got trashed after it all came out. Well, it's on the right, and then you go through the 82, and it's just there.
Where was that again? You'll be able to tell me if this is one of these ones where I've not liked the fucking video. I have not. What a clown. There's only going to be one Hidden Valley. Well, there might be a few, but one that's called the Hidden Valley. I
remember if it's called the Hidden Valley or the Lost Valley. I can always get it mixed up. No, it's the Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley, Scotland. I'm sure the cunt was like, fucking, you bounce down these stairs and whatever.
You go over a wee bridge, like there's a wee bridge over the river that you go past, like a wee cottage that's in there. There's a wee house that's in the bottom of the glen. It's all very scenic. And then you get up there and I'm like, how did they? So the story goes that the McDonald's clan had stole all the cattle and they'd hid the cattle up in the valley, this hidden valley, sort of secret valley that was there. And you go there and you go, this is incredible, because it looks like you've climbed all the way up and it looks like the bottom of another glen. I
know, this can't be this one, because like I've just seen that you go over the wee wooden bridge and then you go up the stone stairs and that. These cunts had to go down actual built metal stairs, kind of like the ones Kunzel would put in.
Yep.
And I'm sure he said it was the Hidden Valley, and I should have fucking looked up, and it was miles away.
No, but you need to remember, like, you come for the car park down, you get to the bottom, then you go over the bridge, and then you climb up the other side. So he's maybe caught it on the downside, but it was the way that I went was, it was just like an S-bend path.
There is one called the Lost Valley as well, though. And that's up by Kinloch Leven. It's like in between Glencoe.
I'll be it.
It's just at the summit of Bedin Nam Bian.
That's it. What's that one called?
The Lost Valley.
Right, it's the Lost Valley.
Right, so I wonder if there is a Hidden Valley as well. Hidden Valley. Shortland. That's the Lost Valley. Hidden. So is the one you're on about up at Ballachulish? Alright, they're obviously just the same fucking place then. Interesting. It looks fucking cool anyway.
You go up there and you need to scrabble. See if you go from the Lost Valley up to the first Monroe, it's a scrabble. And then you go from there, ridgeline, to the next one. And then you go from that one, ridgeline, to the next one. And then you go down the other Monroe. And you do essentially a massive loop all the way back to the car park. But you go up one side of the range, go along the ridge lines, and then you come down the other side of the range. And actually you can do 3 of them.
Bosh.
One go. Probably 7-8 hours. But fine. Absolutely fine, as long as you're prepared enough. In terms of like fluids and things like that.
I'll go with my new gear. Big orange mic.
You could definitely do it. Like Ben Vorlick's a good one. A good challenging one.
There's a few. Like, I'll need to send you the list that I found.
I will take a look.
And they were not bad. They weren't too far. I think they were all within sort of 2.5 hour range. Because we've got a wee hang booked up near Wick in the summer, and Ben Hope's up there. It's the most northerly one, so I might try and box it off while I'm up there.
Nice.
It's fucking nippy because it's 2 hours away from where we're staying, but I'm never going to be that close to it again, so I thought...
You need to get it off the list.
Fucking right. I'm not going to be up there very often, because the place we're staying's up past Wick. The wee hangs looked fucking mint, so I was like, that'll do.
Right.
And then I was like, I wonder what's in the area. So there's loads of hills, but not all of them qualify.
Yep.
And at the minute, I think I'll focus on the ones that qualify. There's another one that's a wee bit further. There's
an none on the islands.
It's Skye, obviously. Yep. I bought the map where they all are.
Right.
So I'd have to consult that. But I'm sure there is some that you've got to trek. Like you've got to get a boat to.
I remember seeing ones that it's good, like 20 odd K. Like you'd need to walk.
It's a shift.
It's like a right hardcore day out.
There's one I seen a boy did. On the interweb, and it was mint. Like he said, it's one of his favourite hills, but that's a shift. Like it's up, fucking at the top, but after one side near some random sort of loch. And he said it's a mint one, and the view for the top's dynamite. But it's a fucking, you can't really get too close to it in the motor. It's one of the ones you've just got to get as close as you can and fucking humph it. Because I don't think there's anywhere near it either. Kind of like town wise or. There's no civilization around about it. It's just in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Like that's a cool thing about. I remember seeing a guy that went up one, and he'd got a clear night and got the northern lights.
Mint, man.
Imagine that.
Well, that's a fucking shout, actually. Like
overnight camping.
That'd be a shout. Like, I maybe wouldn't camp, no, I'm a fucking bump on the top of a hill, but definitely do a later hike in the day.
Would you not camp?
Nah, no, if we're only up there for 3 days with the missus and the wee man, I think she wouldn't be too happy if I fucked off for a night, huh?
Sounds like a her problem. You get to give them stuff to moan about. Keep them on their toes.
This is it, mate. Keep it interesting.
Aye.
How many have you done? Have you even, do you ken? Have you checked them?
1, 2. Oh. Need to add them up. 1, 2, 3.
More than 10?
Nah. So maybe there or thereabouts.
Boom.
But
it's a cool thing to box off, like.
It'd be cool.
Ken, just done, tick. 282, smashed.
That'd be a nice...
I don't think there's many people that have actually done them all. There's probably more people that have done Everest now than done all the Munros in Scotland.
You think so?
Fucking right, easy.
I remember seeing ones you had to get a canoe to. Like, you needed to go
probably across. I quite believe it, lad. Which would be even fucking cooler. Mm-hmm. Ken, proper triathlon banter just to go and box off a Munro.
Aye, good effort.
But did I know, was it you who was sending the pictures of Everest to? The queues at the summit?
Wild.
Ken, I'm not queuing at 27,000 feet. Sorry, but I'm fucking not.
You ever looked into K2?
K2 looks mental.
K2 is the hardest of them all.
Yeah.
K2 is the most deadly,
gnarly,
and it was one of the hardest to conquer.
Same mountain range, isn't it? It's still Himalayas, isn't it?
They're all in the same sort of area. Like they're all in that kind of Himalayas, sort of Asia, Nepal.
That's my plan for my 40th. I've no interest in doing Everest. I want to do the trek to base camp though.
To where? Base camp where?
No, Everest base camp. It's like 14 days it takes you to get there for wherever you are. Up through the hills, past all the monasteries, get blessed by the monks and all that shit. I want to do that bit. Get to base camp. What's happening? Big hill. See you later. Where you go again?
That's one of the most pussy things I've ever heard. You
make
a fucking trek to the
penultimate hill.
ultimate hill, and you go, I'll just give you a wave. Weak.
No climbing it.
Weak.
Ken, what's weak? Queuing at 27,000 feet. That's quew. That's
go up with the Sherpas. See, look, I'll help you do the ropes.
They've all got Sherpas. They're not fucking. You're still
go up
queuing
with the Sherpas when they need to fix the ropes.
Rig it and all that shit.
They need to fix the ropes. They're all hardcore.
Aye, fuck that. Like, and even through the ice bottlenecky bit and that, Ken, it's just. Ken, no wonder so many folk are dying more than ever. Yeah. You're standing at minus 65 million queuing.
What would you rather do? Queue at 28,000 feet, or would you rather try and trek across Antarctica? You ever hear about, is it Colin O'Brien? It's Colin something. His second name will come to me.
So you try to reenact the endurance chat or something?
He was the first guy to, it was him and another guy that were looking to be the first to trek across Antarctica. And he
got fined £25,000 for trying to do it.
They couldn't even do the toilet. He had to bag them all up. Like, he got permission to go across, trek across it. So it was from whatever point to whatever point.
Well, we can have a shite.
Couldn't you leave a shite?
Why?
Because they needed it pristine. Or the big tall Germans for Admiral Byrd's journal were going to come and get them. The big Nordics. That was the thing. See, like the Nordics was one of the Canadian, the top Canadian minister for air defence came out and says, look, we're in contact with the Galactic Federation. There's aliens here and live amongst us. And he talks about one of them was the Nordics. Tall, Nordic.
Handsome.
You might know, you're probably related to them.
They're all here. They're all in my bloodlines, mate.
That must be it. That must be you're getting closer to home. It's like I'm going to admit, I'm going to say this to you straight, Mikey. You've not got a very good disguise.
I don't, mate. I don't. That's why I'm not allowed in America, mate. It's because I'm an extraterrestrial.
The Galactic Federation's went like, look, can't let our boy in just yet. He's got work to do. We've got to keep him up these hills for a wee while. He's got his big orange jumpsuit. We need to see him up those hills.
He's ready. Fucking need to transmit some messages to the mothership.
But the Nordics were a tall species that needed to be in cold environments, so they relocated to the colder spots as the planet had changed and went through different sort of climate changes over the years. and that was one of. I think he said there was 9 species, like there was 9 types, and a lot of them were hybrids. So they'd been, like they were alien human sort of crossbreeds, which would explain a lot about a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we touched on that before. They can't find the link from Homo fucking erectus to Homo sapien, or what are we? We're Homo sapiens.
We're Homo sapiens sapiens.
Sapiens.
Aye, so we're Homo sapiens sapiens.
+1.
So but I mean, this is the thing about there's so much signs of like an ancient civilization, an advanced civilization.
It's everywhere.
Like it's glaringly obvious. It's almost to the point where you go, there's like the story we're being told just doesn't fit.
It would even be better if kind of the people in charge was like, we don't know.
Yep.
Sorry. We're just talking pish because we don't fucking know. We can't answer it. And it's easier to tell you a lie than explain shit we can't fucking explain.
Well, you follow George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell? So Jeremy Corbell's in
I know the Knapp name, but
George Knapp was the guy who was the reporter who reported on Bob Lazar.
All right, okay.
So he was with like KSL News or something in Las Vegas. Great voice, great sound, great tone. He's got that sort of anchorman newscaster. Welcome to the, he's got that whole bit. So he comes across really well, but he got in tow with, I think it was David Lear, and his family designed the Learjet,
yes.
Billionaires. And he said he says, I've got a guy that's from S4, I think you should speak to him. And he was blowing the lid on what was going on down there. And it was George Knapp was the guy who was like, this must be nonsense, this must be a hoax, and then got right into the rabbit hole and went on this whole sort of exploration of, oh shit, so there is something.
I was talking the day, who was the British guy that was buying up all the Russian secrets? Kind of on our alien desk, if
So he was talking about it. So the Men in Black are mysterious people that are in government organisations.
Yeah, no, but mind the guy.
Nick Pope.
That was it.
Nick
I said I got Pope right, but I think I said fucking Ben or something.
Nick Pope.
Because he's like, oh, he's the such and such guy. I'm like, nah, no, he's not a fucking, Nick Pope.
Yep,
I need to try and remember that.
So he was the dude that tells you about all the information that they were getting after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So like 91, Soviet Union fell, and there was lots of Russian secrets for sale because all these people were out of job and needing money. It was like, well, we've got a filing cabinet you might be interested in.
Here you go,
how much?
Line them out.
And they were like, bring them over. We're buying what you're selling. So there was all that bit from Nick. But he was another one that talks about the different sort of species and Galactic Federation. Matthias De Stefano talks about it as well. He remembers all his past lives.
Oh,
So again, another one where initially I'm like, this guy's been buzzing glue. And then the more that you go into it and he explains like literally every single, like the depth of his knowledge, you go, man, it's more believable that you can remember all your past lives than it is that you've sort of just concocted this whole story. Because he's pretty good at it. He's very, very, very articulate. The weird one was that he'd met a guy, like he had a friend now that was his husband like 10,000 years ago.
I take it this guy believes in the whole reincarnation banter then, like he's coming back and all this chat. Although kind of like if he remembers past lives and shit, he must be down the whole Buddhist chat where
well, the Buddhist chat was about what their interpretation of what happens to the soul. So the soul, like
the Buddhists, they don't believe in reincarnation.
Reincarnation.
Yeah.
So but the reincarnation's the Buddhist version of what it's like a description of what happens where you return to life after life.
Well, paganism has the same sort of thing. Your soul, if you like. So say for argument's sake, your soul is a higher being that comes down and takes a body, and you come back as many times as you need to complete whatever tasks you've been set, if you like. And you will keep coming back until you tick all the boxes you have to tick. And then you can go to fucking Soul Land 3000 or whatever the fucking chat is. Fuck knows.
Well, the purpose, if I remember, again, I'll need to refresh my memory, but the purpose of, according to Matthias De Stefano, is that consciousness is the creator of everything. So everything comes from consciousness. When consciousness became aware of itself, it divided into two. So it divided into two, and now consciousness was aware of itself, and then it divided into 3 and 4. And the third is the third dimension, the fourth is the fourth dimension, and so on. And then there's beings that exist in the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, like archangels, entities without physical form. There's more energetical beings, and then you get to the 8th dimension, which is the Akashic records, which is consciousness has now experienced every single alternative and every single possibility, and it's stored within this record. So every timeline in every life, in every possible carnation of itself has been experienced and is stored there. And this is what Nikola Tesla says he was linked into. And then the 9th dimension is divinity, where consciousness now knows all possible timelines and it's found divinity. And that's where the 369 comes from, because you can only access the 9th dimension through the 3rd and the 6th.
Yeah.
And then you get to the 9th, and then it starts all over again. And this is what they reckon is going on. So all these interactions with different, beings, these sort of interactions with spirits, interaction with like higher power, it's all the different levels, the dimensions.
Have you came across that, just when you said dimensions there, about us being in a different dimension, a parallel universe to where we were? Have you came across some of this chat?
So
and things are different that you don't realise. But you remember them one way, but they're now, no, that's how it was. And you're like, I could have fucking... And just everything, branding on packets, cartoon characters, how they looked, things like that. And it's all fucking different. And I was looking through some of it, and I'm like, no, that was 100% how that cunt looked back in the fucking 90s.
Yep.
But according to our data, it wasn't. So either we're all fucking wrong...
Yep.
Or something's...
Well, they reckon that there's the multiverse theory is that every single possible... There's 1,000 universes, and there's 1,000... there's just infinite possibilities happening everywhere. And the whole...
How we've apparently switched.
How would we switch?
Don't know. Apparently the point is when the particle collider thing happened. Apparently that's a point where...
Would that be a point with it?
Well, that's what they said. That's what one of these guys' theories is when... Because at what point could have something potentially have happened?
We were getting into the realms of the God particle when they started looking for that. That was the issue with the story in Angels and Demons. So Angels and Demons was the sequel to the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
So in Angels and Demons there was...
I can't really remember that one very well.
So they were calling it the God particle, which was you would create antimatter.
Well, I can remember Da Vinci, and then I remember the other one where he was running about. I think that was Inferno. But I can't really remember.
Inferno was about a weird foretelling of things that were
was that the priest that felt his death at the end? Was it Ewan McGregor or some shit?
Ewan
like
McGregor.
That? Aye. I can't for whatever reason I can't log Angel. I've seen it. I just can't.
Running around the Vatican looking at all the ancient sort of hidden symbolisms. They wouldn't let him in. It was a Swiss Guard. So the Swiss Guard were there to protect the secrets.
Was Inferno basically that as well?
Nah, Inferno was the virus, the virus through the blood, and it was all the blood ritual. So it was ceremony at the end, and it was all about wiping out half of humanity because everything needed to start again. So 50% everyone needed to die.
That wants to kill us all. You've got fucking Avengers, fucking Dan Brown and all his chat.
And the weird bit is it's not even killing everybody. It's like it's a half deal.
Aye.
They're very sort of clear that it's only half.
You can't. It's all. Yeah.
It's like, what half do you pick?
Well, you don't. It's just random. Whoever
these are targeted. These ones. So it it was targeted
because obviously in Avengers it's just there, and it's just random who goes and who doesn't.
I didn't clock that with I'm sure in Inferno there was
they're actually trying to take out
gene
cunts.
sequence. It was like these are the ones.
Strand of human.
This will be the ones that live on. It's back to the whole all the genocidal traits that have happened in history. You go like, how many times does it need to? It seems to be a recurring theme. But even like that would create like the Great Floods. So the Great Floods were around the sort of 10,200 BC and the great floods that are written about in every religion. And it's all the stories of this great flood. But it seems that people were saved and selected to restart humanity. But everyone had sort of forgot what had happened before. And we're looking at, in Göbekli Tepe, the ancient pyramids, you're looking at Machu Picchu, and we go, we don't know. But all the signs are there. And Graham Hancock writes about this in his book, The Fingerprints of the Gods.
He's really good.
Where he's like, look, here's all the things that don't make sense. This doesn't fit, and there's no explanation for this. And what we understand to be scientifically based. So just because we can't explain it, we're seeing the evidence here. There must be something else that's happened. And then he's like, criticised for being a pseudoscientist, where he's clearly stood the test of time. But his fingerprints of the God's book's just incredible. And you're seeing sort of all the, Randall Carlson, Master Builder.
So good.
Incredible detail, incredible knowledge, incredible research. Is it Robert Schacht?
I like the two of them together. They're really good. Really fucking good together.
Really good on Joe Rogan, the two of them.
That was brilliant. A shit hot podcast.
And Joe holds his own against two guys. Like he's really
clever,
good.
Fucking man, Joe. Though.
Yeah, and you look at him, you just think he's just going to be like a fun.
Mate, I flicked on. I was on these fucking rerun channels. I was just flicking through, and there he is in the 90s on Fear Factor with hair. And I'm like, went back. I'm like, is that fucking Joe? I went on Google. I'm like, it fucking is Joe. Right. That must have been a low point, hosting Fear Factor.
That's how he got kicked off, was Fear Factor. He was good at pool. I think he was hustling with a bit of pool. He was trying to get into comedy. Ended up landing the gig at Fear Factor, and this is all like pre-UFC sort of stuff. And he's like the sort of, I don't know if he looked like kind of Italian, sort of Fonzie. He had that sort of like catalogue, sort of good look, model.
He done well
image.
Though, because me and Charlie ended up watching it for a bit, and obviously all the contestants in the 90s, all the women are in bikinis, and he's just like this, in his head, don't look down, don't just eye contact every which way. I'm like, good effort, Joe. Right. You've Focused. Been told, cameras on you, lad. Yep. You look ahead. We don't need any shit here. Eye contact only. And then you'll see him turn away, and there'll be a quick what's happening as he fucking comes off camera. Like, yes, Joe, legend.
Good lad. He's still in the game. But he was. I think he'd done something else. What else did he do?
I can't even remember any of that. I mind seeing Fear Factor back in the day too, but I never ever. Well, obviously, I wouldn't really know who Joe Rogan was back in the day because he wasn't really anybody at that point overly. Just another presenter.
I mean, it's amazing to think of how many things he's been interested in, and look at the depth of people that he speaks to in his podcast with all such
the
a
knowledge
huge,
you'll pick up even without knowing it. Just
huge
stuff that people he's in the room with.
But Jamie's good. I want a Jamie.
Jamie's
really good.
Jamie is really good.
Jamie's like quicker than ChatGPT.
He's on the case. Like
he's quick.
He's fucking there.
He's quick.
I like. You came across what's it called? Bobby Lee and Hingy's podcast.
Theo Von.
No. Theo's been on it, but it's the ginger guy and Bobby Lee.
Ginger guy.
Is it Bad Friends or something like that?
Bill Burr.
No.
Guy from Boston.
No, this fucking
ginger guy.
You must have seen it.
Ari Sharif.
Eh?
Ari Sharif, he's bald. He's got a shaved head.
This is it Bad Friends podcast. No, these guys are fucking hilarious. Never seen these two. They're fucking. You need to have a look at them. They're hilarious.
Let me check them out.
Brilliant, and even just the shit they get away with as well. Just some of the chat they're talking about, and they go places where it says brilliant. Can racially on the edge at points, but not offensively. Just calling us fucking. That is what it is type thing.
Like it's strange because I think back to some of the movies that we would have seen like 15, 20 years ago. And like stuff they're talking about now, we were like, aye, that's like no bother. People are so offended now.
Oh well, we recently watched, like when I was drawing, I'll chuck something on the background, and we went back to like Only Fools and Horses and that, and see some of the chat in that and what they're calling folk and going to the Indian restaurant and what they would refer to the waiters, and you're like, imagine they did that on the telly now. Fucking hell.
I mean, there is some of it, like, it's definitely like, right, it's probably good we tidied that up as a culture. Sure. Like culturally, but it's, probably quite good that was dialed out. See some of the like what we've lost is see the cultural humour, like the differences in culture that was funny. Yeah. Right, that nobody's having a go, there's no malice. It's just
good
funny.
Fun. Yeah.
Like good, hearty fun. Not like nobody's the brunt of it, no worse than any other joke. But it's funny.
It is good.
And it's like that's the thing with like who's the black dude? I like Eddie Spears. He's really funny. Yeah. Eddie Spears, seen him, black comedian.
Oh, no, sure, lad.
Funny. Like just, and it's all sort of all that cultural, racial differences. But no racial as in like the like colour. It's more racial as in like preferences and things they do. And the way he does it, he just nails it.
I like a lot of the Indian comedians, the British ones, whose parents are first generation, right, but he's grew up here, so he can see the cultural differences between his white friends and how he was brought up. And I like the guys; they're fucking brilliant.
And that's the thing; it's like that's good humour.
Yeah, it's great. Like, it's fantastic.
If anything, that brings like different sort of racial groups tighter. It makes them
absolutely
because you can enjoy humour and that like you're finding common ground.
No one's being a dick. No one's getting derogatory. It's just good old fun.
Who's the what's the black comedian? The guy with the bald head.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, brilliant. Incredible.
I like his banter with the LGBT community and that. He goes ham on them. Just takes the utter cunt out of them, but he's getting away with it.
Aye.
I think they can see it for what it is, and he's just having a joke.
Aye.
He's not being. He flirts with the line, but he doesn't quite jump over it. He stays on the right side of. I wouldn't say political correctness because none of it's politically correct, but it's funny, and he's not being nailed to the wall for it, which is good.
I mean, politics. I mean, it's ironic that we use words like politically correct when you look at politicians. Yeah. I mean, if there's anything we shouldn't be like, it should be like politicians.
Yeah.
You see Tucker Carlson selling out arenas in Canada just now. Like Justin Trudeau is in big trouble. Like, and Tucker Carlson's calling him out. And he's went and toured around Canada and places are packed to see Carlson. I don't know how it's now going to make democracy.
Trudeau's been there a while though, isn't he?
Aye, but he's been parachuted in. Like he's a.
Oh, you think he's a face?
He's a WEF puppet. He was part of the World Economic Forum's Young Leaders program.
They've been pretty quiet recently, to be fair. I've not heard a lot of WEF chat for a while, to be fair.
They're trying to let it blow over. They're like, boys,
that went tits up, guys. We'll just shut our pussies
for a PR campaign. We're going to keep it on the lowdown for a wee while because we don't want to raise our heads. And this is the thing: is like you look at all the. Like, have you ever went on the World Economic Forum and then looked at the members and looked at how many political party members?
But someone did on TikTok.
Right, Nicola Sturgeon, Sadiq Khan. Rishi Sunak,
I take it
Boris Johnson, Yusuf, all paid up members of the World Economic Forum, all like part of but Justin Trudeau, and you literally look at the world governments, and there's a video of Klaus Schwab going, yes, we like to infiltrate all the cabinet offices, and it's like, right, so let me get this right, you're bragging that you set up a program to essentially indoctrinate young leaders into your way of thinking so that they could be your agents inside government cabinets. That's what you're saying, and you're actually boasting about it.
You're telling everybody.
And you're
who's going to do anything about it? Everyone's in their pocket.
No, you go and look at the French, and you look at the farmers. Farmers are going to do something about it.
The Germans are piping up too. They've started. Apparently, someone said Scottish farmers are kicking off somewhere, but I couldn't. The footage I've seen, it could be farmers just going to work. They were just They weren't like in France. They're clearly, setting tire walls on fire and spraying shite everywhere and blocking up buildings. And I seen them drive a fucking tractor into McDonald's. I dumping manure and hay bales in the middle of McDonald's and all shit and like that. And the McDonald's boys open the automatic doors and, guy, come on you go.
People have had enough. Like, you look at the Blade Runners down in London with the ULEZ, they're like, you can take this and you need to stop this. Like, it's a case of the voices are rising and the people are making a stand because they don't want any part of it.
I don't think we'll be able to hear. I just don't think we will.
People won't rise.
Yeah. They
need something like...
We're all pussy bastards. No one here's going to put their head in the chopping block. Fact. Well, nobody.
I think they need something big enough to get behind, because if there's no... Like, if you look at... It's a bit like boiling the frog. Like, the temperature's cooled down, so the frog's not going to jump out the water. But it takes something to raise that temperature again, and then you're going to see who's going to jump out and who's going to stay the same.
Any British people trying to make waves, half of them, they end up leaving the country. They're on Spain or somewhere else. Okay, and they don't hang about because our government go after them. And any time they set foot back here, the government go after them. You know, and so I don't think anybody, and now they've passed that law as well. If you are one of these people that try and incite an uprising or a movement or a revolution or whatever you want to call it, they can lock them up for 14 years without question. Same with journalism's fucked here too. You do anything that makes the government or the Crown look bad, they can lock you up for 14 years. No questions asked. So no one's going to do it. Every cunt's got bairns or a family to think about, so no cunt's going to do it. We're fried, And I don't know where you stand on the theory of all these UN soldiers getting moved into the country. All our hotels are full of them.
This is back to what you see.
Military-age males in Bathgate. Government have bought the Cairn Hotel. Filled it with fucking military.
Is that right?
Yeah. Cairn Hotel's full to the brim of military-aged males.
Where are they from?
Not here. I don't know specifically where. Middle Earth countries, I'm presuming. But they're all here. Military-aged males, no women, no kids, no elderly. Everywhere. Fucking everywhere. And they're all being prepaid 175 quid a week on the debit cards. All of them.
To do what?
Don't know. Nobody knows.
Is anybody watching them?
Don't know. All I know is the council bought the Cairn Hotel and they've filled it with these guys. And there's all over the UK, it's the same. Even because a wife was on the radio not long ago, and she runs Airbnb, not Airbnbs, just B&Bs, bed and breakfast. And they're all booked out, foot to the brim. And it's just these Middle Eastern type, not Middle East, getting just, like Syrian, Turkish, North Africans, Moroccan, just all these men, no women, no children, but they're off running for wars. Why are military men here? Where are your women and children and your elderly? It's just men. Our country is full of them.
I've seen a lot of it in Ireland. They were kicking up a fuss about it as well. Like,
and actually, there's a cruise ship docked at the Clyde next to the motorway. It's been there for that same thing. Full to the fucking brim. Why? What's going on? And apparently they're all UN soldiers, allegedly. But whether that's true or not, it's just some cunt blurting that out is another thing. Obviously, going by some of the plans, whether they're true or not, who knows, Agenda 30 and all that chatter, you can't rely on our military and police to get on board with some of the plans they've got laid out going forward.
Look at what they've done. I mean, people are quick in forgetting the lockdowns, or quick in forgetting the wink, wink, we didn't force vaccinations. The fuck you did.
Aye.
Yeah, you fucking did. Yeah. And then look at how they're ignoring all the excess deaths. Look at how they're ignoring...
Oh, it's natural causes.
It's not... oh, yeah.
So had a heart attack.
Yeah, long COVID's causing heart attacks. No, it's not.
Nope.
No chance. Look at how, government having parties right in the face of it, them having exemptions for masks and vaccinations, and you go, this stinks to the high heavens.
Seen a lot of the coroners that are finding these mad... 12-foot long blood clots in folk and all this shit. Mm-hmm. It's like fucking snakes in your blood and that.
It's incredible, the stuff that they found, and then it's just been ignored.
It's just getting diggy. They're constantly being told to shut their fucking faces.
And that's the thing is, you look at the censorship. You see the Twitter files. So Matt Taibbi and Elon released the Twitter files.
Yeah.
basically complete collusion
Yeah.
from the government. And they've had them up in America.
Yeah.
They've had them at congressional hearings where they're like, right, where did you go to medical school?
I've
Like,
seen
did you go to medical school? Like, so how, what credentials have you got?
Right?
What gives you the right to censor a Harvard-trained doctor that's an expert in his field? Well, it's our policy. She's like, no. I'm asking you a question.
Right, answer it.
Right. Well, how is it? How do you know better than them? Like, and you're censoring, you're stopping the First Amendment right.
Because what was his plus? Fucking him he got the Nobel Prize for developing the mRNA technology. He was shut up. And he's actively like, this is not the chat.
Robert Malone.
This is not what it was created for. This is not a vaccine. This is not... like, if you had the right code, you could basically make a human turn into a fucking horse if you had the right genetic code. He
was really chuffed, and he had an adverse reaction to his vaccination.
Did he?
Aye. He was chuffed to go and get it, and he's like, I developed the technology. He's got 9 patents to his name.
Aye.
For designing the technology. He's like, yeah, I'm like really, played a part and, in the, the good guy club.
But then he turned around and started telling everyone not to take it.
Well, it's because he seen what it did.
Ah, right, okay.
And he had first-hand experience. He was like, this is really, really bad.
And then Mike Eden, the guy that helped develop it for Pfizer, he resigned and started telling every cunt not
Vice President of Pfizer.
Do not fucking take it. And we just ignored him. So you've got the guy who's invented the tech and the guy that's made it, both of them telling you to stay the fuck away from it, and they got shut the fuck up.
Luc Montagnier was a Nobel Prize laureate for...
He died the day before he was meant to give evidence against it in court.
Funny that.
Funny, yeah.
Well, he developed...
he's a Canadian lad, isn't he? French-Canadian.
He's French, yeah. And he developed synthesized the first test or isolated HIV, the HIV virus, won a Nobel Prize for it, and so he was the foremost expert in viruses and virology. He is the guy.
He's the fucking boy.
He is the guy, and he went and says this has been created in the lab. He says this is 100% been created in the lab.
Before he was to give evidence in court, he went fucking oopsie daisies.
Yep. Seems to be the way of it. So you can't imagine, like I can imagine. And this is what I mean. Like you look at all these cameras, we want 15-minute cities, we want smart meters, we want to know where you're doing, we know
smart
what you want to
fridges,
spend.
Smart doors, smart tellies, smart fucking it's all for your convenience.
It's all for your convenience. We want to be able to we want to be able to track every single thing that you use on the device using Wi-Fi. The one that cracked me up was cutting down somewhere in Oxford, they were cutting down, I don't know, like a 150-year-old tree-lined street to put in 5G towers. And and he says that they were going to cut down the trees to put 5G towers in, and they wanted to install like a bus lane for emissions, like for a green, like I can't remember what the word they used. They were going to put a bus lane through here and the 5G towers on the basis it would be environmentally friendly. Like, so you're going to cut down the trees that actually
purify
take the CO2 and turn it into oxygen through photosynthesis. That's what you're suggesting.
Aye.
Like,
we're going to use all these big diggers and diesel guzzling machines, and it'll take 100 years before this green project becomes green because its carbon footprint is fucking massive.
Yeah,
idiots, man.
Madness.
That's another thing. Even the 15-minute city thing, like you just said, the amount of folk that don't think that's coming. Oh, it's not true. It's happening now. They're trying to contest it in courts in England. Oh, but it won't come up to Scotland. The ULEZ zone's the first stage.
Yep, go and check Bath. Right, and it's like the ULEZ zone is the first, like you say, it's the first stage. So it's like, what we're going to do, right? So you've decided that you own the air, right? All your emission scandals, all your nonsense in Parliament, all the tricks that you played, all the wars that you fought for your elite bankers, all the bully tactics that you use all over the world. And what you've decided is you want to come here and you want to charge people for using the air.
Yep.
And then what are you doing with that money to clean the air?
Zero.
Like, what are you buying? Like, explain to me what you're doing.
Right, that's it.
Right. And if it's a case of we're going to play the game that there's democracy, and we're going to play the game that there's accountability, then you're in public office, and the people that have lent you their authority should be able to ask, but you're not answering any questions. Like, just the same as you're not answering any questions about the low traffic towns, LTNs, low traffic neighbourhoods.
Yeah.
So low traffic neighbourhoods, the ULEZ, why are you putting all these people just in boatloads into hotels? Why are you funding sort of £1.9 billion contracts to house migrants into social housing stock, and then claiming there's a
shortage?
There's a shortage of homes. Like, something doesn't add up.
Yeah, it sounds not making sense.
Something doesn't add up, and you go, well, people don't want to know.
No, they don't. No, I mean, there's something to be said for burying your head in the sand. Absolutely. Like, I would rather not fucking know.
Yeah.
But I know now, so it is what it is. Just got to sit and wait on it happening, because there's fuck all you can do to stop it. Hee-haw.
Well, probably out with the scope of this episode to discuss what could be done. There's certainly things that could be done, but
Aye.
whether people would, or at what stage people would consider them as an option, I think we need to go quite far into the...
But when people are going to get to the point where they're willing to do the extreme, it's too fucking late. Game's a bogey.
Yep.
Train's left the station. It's en route.
Yep.
You know?
Prevention's better than cure.
Yeah.
Big time. Speaking of which, did you know that there was a UFO sighting at Edinburgh Airport in 2019?
I did not. I did not know that.
Like, multiple
When you sent me that hangover earlier, I was like, oh, yeah, cunt.
Multiple airline pilots had reported seeing fast-moving, unidentified objects.
Normally the first
in the
port
sky.
is the Air Force, though.
Well, they'd phoned the Ministry of Defence. The Ministry of Defence contacted them. So the Civil Aviation Authority contacted the Ministry of Defence, and their answer was more than telling. They says there is no threat to aviation.
Aye.
Didn't say there wasn't anything there. They didn't confirm.
No
This is no threat. There's just extremely high moving objects that are visible to airline pilots in the area that they're landing and taking off. And your response is, we've investigated it and there's no threat. What? Explain that to me, boss. Right? Talk me through that one.
What does that mean?
So I don't know if they were making their way to Bonnybridge, but they were via Edinburgh. But the multiple airline pilots had reported this.
Well, it's like that one in America, the weird pill hang, and you can hear the recording to the Navy and the Air Force talking to each other, and neither one of them like, it's no us, so who the fuck is it then? I don't know. We've been monitoring it.
It's a tic-tac.
Yeah.
Would you know that they were there for days?
It was fucking... And it just fucked off.
Commander David Travers, the guy that came out, and essentially he was the squadron leader. He's like, I was a commander for the mission, and they were doing a training mission, and it was simulated off the coast, and they were like the air traffic control had known that this sort of object was coming from 80,000 feet to sea level in almost instantaneously, like incomprehensible speed, and they were making manoeuvres that weren't possible, but they were tracking it on radar, and they'd seen it over the course of a few days, but the aircraft pilots weren't briefed on what was going on. So Commander Fravor and the squadron headed out. They're given a waypoint to head to this location. Air traffic control come on and are like, we've got a real world situation. Can you proceed to here? So they went round, spotted this sort of tic-tac shaped object hovering just above on the surface, making the shape of a cross. And then they were banking to come and make a circle round to see what it was. So he's got a real good look, eyes on. So one of the planes is up high watching as he's making the manoeuvre. So he's got eyes on looking at this below. And he says it looked like it was interacting with something just under the surface of the water, and it was making a cross shape in incomprehensible speed. He says moving like just a ping pong ball rattling around in a cross shape. He says he says complete visibility for 50 miles, like crystal clear. He says this thing lifted up and then shot out of visibility. He says that it was, we'd asked air traffic control, like, have you got it on radar? And it was at 60 miles away. And within seconds, it was 60 miles away at their next waypoint.
That's frightening, eh?
And it was like, this thing's like, is it technology that the US are testing? Is it Like, I think Commander Fravor was in an FA-18 Super Hornet, so the creme de la creme
Right,
of
fast plane.
speed machine.
Yeah, good
Like, he wasn't in a Cessna.
Aye.
He wasn't in a toy plane. And he's like, this thing left us standing still. And he's came out and he's like, nah, we don't have anything like that I know of. But what was uncanny is it knew it Fravor's next waypoint and was there like that. And he was like, oh. And then when they get back, debriefed, Men in Black show up, like, hush, hush. There's a couple of spooks on the boat. Right, we need to keep this contained. You know, and then the guys are putting on the Men in Black movies in the room, taking the piss a little bit. And he's like, hey, he says that was what we'd seen. And it's apparently like really, really frequent, but hushed up.
It's just because the public will shite themselves.
Where do you think they're at with that now?
I don't know. Like you say, like they kind of obviously they say Hollywood's like to prepare people for what's coming and all that chat. And I think the more and more as time goes on, the less shocked I think people would be. And I think it'll eventually come to a point where it comes out and folk are just like, yeah, okay.
But see I seen an old Bob Lazar video. His old videos are good and they're resurfacing. So Bob Lazar's doing a thing. He's like, I don't know what the brief is. He says, but I don't know if this was real. He says, but the brief that I was read was to do with why religion was created and that we are containers.
To control us.
We are containers and we contain the souls, and religion is there so that the containers follow a set of rules to look after what's in the containers, which is the souls, and it's all connected with religion as a mechanism of protecting.
How do you damage a soul? What are they needing to control so we don't damage it? That's like what? Do you know what I mean?
It's a good question.
Like, what is religion trying to teach you to do?
Well, most religions are grounded in a principle that you are given a set of rules that you live by that are for the greater good. Like you.
Yeah, but there's only one religion that gives you rules. All the rest is guidelines.
Oh, whatever way you want to interpret it. The idea
Catholic
is
faith's the only one that's like commandments. Do this or you're going to fucking hell. And every other one's just kind of like, oh, this is a guide to, be a sound cunt. Whereas Christianity's the only one that's like...
They've got some ropey history, like, burning the witches and the science books and chasing the scientists. They've got a checkered past.
You seen witch picking's back?
No.
In the Congo, they're fucking started witch picking again.
What's witch picking?
So basically back in the day, in Scotland and the UK, I think it finished in England before Scotland. Scotland was late to the party ending it. But basically a witch picker, someone that worked for the church, and I could just say to you, you're a witch. And I have to prove you're a witch by either drowning you or burning you. And if you survive, I'm right. If you die, oh, sorry, I was wrong. So there was never a confirmed witch, ever. But if the witch picker picked you out, they got your estate. There was no poor witches. There were only wealthy witches. And the witch picker got your estate. And, the family was also prosecuted for harbouring a witch and so on and so forward. So witch pickers, the Inverkeithing witch picker was one of the richest in Scotland. Because it's just business. So now in the Congo, what's happening is the priests are kind of cutting about and they'll point at you with your kids, but your child, he's the reason why you're poor and this and that, and he's the reason all your bad things. So then the family pays the church to purify the child. Whether it be torture, rape, beatings, pouring hot palm oil down their throats. And then when they're finished, they'll just dump the child. The family don't want him back. They're just left on the streets. But the church, there's now hundreds of kids that are witches.
Which church? Demons.
Catholic church.
Wild,
as far as I'm aware, let me look this up before I go accusing an entire branch of fucking not doing anything wrong. Which there was a massive documentary on it a few years back.
Is there?
Witch picking in the Congo. So kind of how like you go down a high street here and it's like hairdresser. And in the Congo it's like church. It's such good business. Children accused of witchcraft may be killed, although often abandoned by their parents and live on the streets. Because child witchcraft is deeply rooted in the Congolese. Can I actually identify which religion it is? I know which picking here was the church. Yeah. Angel, distraught angel to cries with fear as she undergoes an exorcism to purge her from the evil that the Catholic priest believes lurks within them. So that is the Catholic Church.
Some shady games for the old Vatican boys.
So there are over 50,000 child witches abandoned on the streets in the capital of Kinshasa or whatever. Wild, eh?
Wild stuff.
Mega business. Good business. You're on the property. You'll get yourself a couple of churches in the Congo.
Is that the thing?
Apparently. Big business in the Congo.
I think to contain my soul, I think I'll keep out of that area.
It's wild, eh?
That's nuts.
Fucking
absolutely nuts.
Religion, lad.
Crazy.
And so what are they containing? What are they protecting? They're protecting hee-haw. Containers are protected. This
is the thing with Matthias de Stefano said back to the dimensions. He's like the Hermetic principles explain the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
And like the one of the principles is duality. So you can't get good without bad. Light without dark.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what Matthias says is that the architects, which are in, I think they're the architects are either in the 6th or the 7th dimension, and they're there working with like good and bad works with each other to create the architecture, because the law is that you need the polarity.
You need both, absolutely.
You need the polarity. That's why you need the evil and the bad.
The yin and the yang.
Yeah, exactly. And this is part of the duality of our experience that needs to be there. Which is just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers stuff. It's wild.
Do you not think the evil seems to be a lot worse than the good, though? Especially in today's fucking society.
Seems to be getting a lot more attention. Like, I think it's one of those things.
Well, that's true, actually. It might not necessarily be worse. You just see it more. Now more than ever.
It's getting the limelight.
Yeah.
And it's, it's like anything. Like people, like the reason that good news isn't selling papers is because that doesn't grab attention.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Evil's the stuff that grabs attention. So, or shock, or drama, or surprise, or that sort of stuff. But it doesn't seem to do too well in the good front. But it's the whole thing, like, hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times. Yeah. And it goes back the way around. So what bit of the cycle we in? So I think we're in weak men make hard times.
Aye, 100%. If you look at a lot of the people in charge,
yep,
they're not strong or good men.
They're not the founding fathers of anything. They're weak men, pillaging, crony capitalism.
Yeah,
exploitation. Hedonistic, materialistic, sort of looking after themselves, looking after their cronies. So there's not a time that I think we're in the weak men make tough times. And then what comes of that is you get, tough times make strong men.
Yeah,
I think that's the next part of it. I would say that we're probably in the
weak phase,
the deep innings of the weak men. Because you'll just look at the attitude of people now. It's all weak. It's all very now. It's all instant gratification. It's all very
poor me.
Victimhood, and self-entitlement.
Yeah.
That they should have everything for nothing. Like it's just
the expectations people have now is
wild. It's all completely bent out of shape.
Fucking broken, lad.
Big time. Was there any other ones you wanted to cover off?
No. One of the funny theories of why I got bounced was America was our chats on the podcast. Someone said, maybe you've said something on one of your podcasts that got you, and like, fuck off. Biden is not paying attention to what I'm saying on a podcast.
Biden didn't know what he ate for dinner.
Biden is off his fucking chomp. Like someone said that, it's like, maybe it's something you've said. And like, it's definitely not anything.
Do you think the NSAs are like a subscriber to the
It'd
podcast?
be fucking cool if they were. Like,
well, like big shout out to the NSA.
Top 3 NSA, CIA, FBI. All
guys are sitting there down in Virginia like, we'll put the boys on. We fuck, they're not getting in here.
He's no chance.
He's on the same list as Snowden.
I'm like, no, it's definitely not that. It could be.
People jump to all sorts of conclusions, don't they?
I was like, we've not said anything that bad that's getting me banned from the fucking States. No fucking danger.
Crazy, man. Absolutely.
I thought it was hilarious.
There was one that I seen, like, talking about comments. There was one about, like, we must have been talking about the pyramids, and some guy said that it's racist to... It was racist to say that the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids.
It's like, it's if anything, what
like
would you,
stealing culture, and I'm like, mate, fuck off.
It's just
you go and get me an Egyptian, right? You go and get me. You can have anyone in Egypt, right? And like, go and get them to build me a 1/20th version.
Right.
Of what you're talking like, and I want chicken bones and copper tools and ramps and wooden logs.
Aye, go.
Right, and go get them.
Aye.
Right. Give me peace.
I mean,
and it's that self-entitlement where you're like, mate, you haven't even looked into this.
No, you're just being a fucking clown. I got some guy trying to hit me with cultural appropriation on my fucking Instagram.
For what?
Because I'm a white guy doing Japanese tattoos. So I'm being racially I'm like, what? Surely, if anything, it's cultural appreciation, you know, because I love their art to the point where I am focusing solely on that.
Madness.
Where this is culture. Fuck off, mate. Get
I
off
remember
my
when
page.
Adele like went down to like the
Is in the singer?
and Adele went down to like the Notting Hill Carnival, and she got like her hair braided. Like
did she get some flack for that? Like,
it was when the whole like it's cultural misappropriation. Like,
fuck off. Cultural appreciation. Get out of here.
Like, listen, you're in fucking Notting Hill in London. You've came here, and there's a carnival here, and someone goes and celebrates the carnival, being inclusive, being involved, like celebrating everything about the carnival. And this is the bullshit that you want to push.
If she had a fucking problem with it, she wouldn't have went.
Hey, bingo.
Okay, what I mean? This is the bit fucking people are missing. It's just fucking stupidity on the highest level.
And it's like common sense is left. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You will jump on any bandwagon.
They shut that desk, mate. You can't get common sense anymore.
It's common sense off the...
they got paid off. It's just gone. There's no handing it out anymore.
The common sense goes P60.
They just doubled up on the fucking...
A P45.
they doubled up on the fucking entitlement desk instead.
We're doing entitlement.
We're getting busy over here.
It's entitlement inclusivity at all costs. We will push this because you must have a fucking smart meter.
Fucking.
For Klaus, Klaus's IT system is waiting on the reading from your smart meter.
Like now more than ever, I would say every cunt's kind of all right with every cunt else, on a whole. Like, you know, no one gives a shit anymore about, I mean, there are people out there that are still a wee bit far behind and they have issues with race and fucking sexual preferences and shit, but for the most part, no one cares. Every cunt's alright with every cunt else. And there's still just these fucking people trying to cause fucking problems.
There's a small group of them as well.
I know, it's so small. Like, I don't care what you look like, who you are, where you put your bits or whatever. I couldn't care less. Okay, and I don't care. I'm fine with you as long as you're not a prick. If you're a prick, that supersedes any of those other things that you categorise to. Okay, and you're good with me as long as you're not a cunt. If you're a cunt, you're a cunt, sorry. That's nothing to do with who you are, how you look, or where you put your fucking bits. You're just a cunt.
A cunt can take on any appearance.
They're shapeshifters. And it's fucking... It just annoys me now that there's so many fucking lines in the sand that you can't step over. And I'm like, why the fuck are they there?
Divide and conquer.
And I understand why they do it. I just don't think there's a fucking need for it.
The people that are being divided don't understand that they're being conquered.
No, this is the problem.
And this is where it's like, right, take a step back, have a look at the methodology, have a look at the technique.
Yeah.
Tell me that you're not doing it. You have been literally infiltrated in your mind to divide yourself up to everybody else. And you've got like the majority of us are like all colours, all shapes, all sizes, and like we're actually quite good. Like we'll probably find some common ground. We'll find some humour and cultural
we won't be that
differences.
different
We'll have a
if you
laugh. We'll
fucking-
talk about like,
Aye.
oh, do you know such and such? And
Take
like,
the fences down and we're all good. We're
all
not
right.
that fucking different. But it's just the extreme mentality of the fucking stupid that ruins it for every cunt.
and they're a small number, but they have the loudest voice.
Yeah, I know.
They have the
I don't-
loudest
I don't
voice, the
get it.
greatest sense of entitlement, and the biggest fucking chip in their shoulder with victimhood.
I know.
And it's them that chipped their own shoulder.
Yeah, aye, this is it.
It's them.
Yeah, you've put your own fence up.
You ever see that video of the lassie and the guy's like, asking, it's like,
There are many videos
like
like this.
she's like, I just think that it's, it's quite hateful, and he's like, who do you think hates you? She's like, well, it's, probably mostly for myself. It's like,
Exactly.
well, is that not a good place to start? It's not a good place to check out because it's probably from within.
I just don't understand why people think other people give a fuck about them, type thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care about them, but do you know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck about what you think I give a fuck about.
How many people like it's like that thing with through your 20s you think that everybody's looking at you and everybody's going to care what you're doing.
Aye.
And then when you get to 30 you're like, I don't really care how I look. And then you get to 40 and you realise nobody was fucking looking at you to begin with. Like, everybody's getting on with their own life. Everybody's like worrying about their own stuff.
Have you ever kenned some cunts like, I want to start to the gym, but I'm worried fucking look at me. Nae cunts go be looking at you. Tell you that right now. Nobody is going to give a fuck at all. No. If you're in the gym and you are out of shape and you're a fucking slob, cool. I've got more respect for you being in the gym than not being in the gym. But nae cunts looking at you, nae cunts judging you. We all started somewhere in the gym. Okay, we all had day one when we were a fucking shit show.
You're going to get more judgment sitting in McDonald's, filling your face.
Aye.
Than you're going to get a bit of respect, a bit of kudos. You're going to get a nod that you've clearly cunted it. You've clearly made an arse.
You don't need me to say anything. You
know where you're
now.
at.
You've made the first step.
Like, you're in.
Yeah.
The heaviest weight in this entire gym's that front door.
That's it. And you've
lifted it. Good on you.
You're good.
Like, keep coming to you half your former self.
Aye.
Like, shed that shite off of you.
That's it.
Right, and good on you getting here.
Remove the duvet. You'll be fine.
You'll be
Once
cool.
the
You'll be good to
padding's off,
go.
You're going to be golden.
Exactly.
But aye, I just don't understand that mentality. Yeah, but everyone has been there. Do you know what I mean? Even fucking at some points I've been there, and you just think, why? Like you say, you get to points in your life where, like, I'm at a point now, probably early, I don't care at all.
But how freeing is it? But you feel relieved.
I don't even know when the point was. I just noticed one day that I really didn't give a fuck at all. I was ranting about it on TikTok the other day and got banned. Got banned off live twice.
How do you get banned off live?
I know, but it's a thing, lad. What
do you mean?
Just got to watch what you say, apparently. I thought TikTok was game. Got banned
Really?
3 times. Twice for running my mouth about fucking TikTok, and then one time for TikToking while driving. TikTok cares about your safety. Instagram doesn't. Instagram let me fucking run my mouth all the
How
way
does
in.
it know that you're doing all this shit?
Pass. I don't know if your GPS location moving at a certain speed, they must know.
Well, if you were the passenger.
That's true, actually. Don't know, but Kent, I was fucking driving. I was ranting about, Ken, like these cunts that are existing and they're making millions just existing in front of a camera. They're not doing anything. They're not tattooing or doing makeup or cooking or whatever you can watch cunts doing. They're doing nothing. They're just sitting there, mouth breathers, in their fucking jammies. They've been in for 3 days, not doing anything. And cunts love it. And they're paying them and they're throwing money and they're giving them gifts. And I heard these little retards now do gift battles, which is like, they both do it. I don't know if they join a stream and whoever gets the most money wins the battle, or I don't care, And it just fucking annoys the crap. Like, how is this a thing? Why, first off, do you have the time to do this? You obviously have nothing going on in your life, but people are watching you, engaging with you, and paying you. So who are these fucking people sitting throwing money at these fucking people? And I was just going off about that. And I just violation, cut off, fuck it. Banned for 10 minutes, fine, 10 minutes it is.
Back in.
Off. Same thing again, violation. I was like, fuck off, TikTok. And she's like, you know what, you're going to get banned. I was like, oh, I get banned off TikTok. What a fucking nightmare. Ooh.
Like, what are they going to do? Have they not learned the lesson that if they start censoring all that, this community guideline pish is like, right, look, it's getting to the point of a joke that what you're talking about is hateful speech. Like, you're using all these words like...
I wasn't even being hateful.
That's what I'm saying.
I
like
probably did say
they are saying it's hateful, and it's like, no, but just...
Yeah, but who decides that?
It's getting... It's like, imagine that you're too harsh.
Yeah.
Right? There's a bit that's too harsh, and the other end is you're too soft. I think that their policing is getting... It's
going too soft.
It's too soft.
I was just straight down the middle. All I want to know, why? Why is this a thing? Why do people do this? I don't understand. Someone just explain this to me as to why. Ken, and if they're making money, cool, I suppose that is a reason, but they started doing this prior to realising they can make money, so why were they doing it in the first place? I don't understand why.
What are they doing?
Nothing.
What do you mean they're doing nothing?
They're doing fucking nothing. Literally, there's one guy who's on almost every night. He doesn't even fucking talk. He's just sitting there listening to tunes, just doing stupid things on the camera. He's not even engaging with anybody. And the cunt's just sets this fucking live goal, and cunts are just throwing money at this fucking guy.
Well, how many people are, like, do you see how many people are?
Some of it's thousands.
What?
Fucking thousands. And one night it was like 8,500 cunts just watching this guy, just sitting there. He's a fat cunt, not physically gifted overly. And I'm not fat shaming, I'm just saying.
Fucking fat shaming.
He's just a
shame
big
the fuck
dude.
out of him.
And he's obviously got a bit of coin, you know, he's Montclaired up. He's got good gear on, he's got a fucking bag.
I wonder if he's getting people to throw money on.
He's getting an absolute fortune, but he's draped in gold in that too, but he's not doing anything. He's not engaging with anybody, he's not typing back, he's just sitting listening to tunes. He looks smashed, he looks like he's on the bevy or something, right. But I'm like, how are you making coin, lad? You're doing nothing, and thousands of people are watching you do nothing. But so, like, I can't wrap my head around it.
Did TikTok get a cut of it, or what? Like, what?
Yeah, TikTok will make money off it as
so
well.
TikTok
are
obviously looking to protect. They're not wanting their money makers to get shot down. So maybe you're criticising their money makers, like, nah, we are.
But I had to look at the parameters with monetising your account and doing these live things and that. And if you've got over a certain amount and a certain percentage of watchers, you're talking like 17 grand a month type monetary value wise. Like, these people are making coin by doing nothing.
That's bonkers.
I can't get my head around it, lad. And I don't understand. Like, right, for argument's sake, right, the reason they're doing it is because they're making 17 grand a month. Sound. Why are people watching it and funding nothing? Like, I get these guys that do shit. Ken, like for argument's sake, if I'm tattooing, I'm live streaming it, there's something to watch. You're doing a tattoo, people interested in the process, and so on and so forward. And even down to these people that are doing random shit, like a guy had a Porsche, and if you send him whatever the gift is, the monetary value, he'll write your handle on his Porsche. And he's covered this Porsche 911 with fucking 100,000 names. And like, Ken, cool, whatever, it's a bit hingy, but if someone's like, oh, I'm getting my name on his Porsche, Ken, whatever, cool. Even that I can maybe get. And a guy will stand there with 4 weights, and each weight's got a different gift. They send him the gift, he's got to lift the weight. Ken, all right, cool, whatever. It's a bit fucking basic, but you're doing something. It's silly, but these people are making money, lad. And
that's wild. And
you look at the people out in Thailand, Bali type neck of the woods, and they've set up these rooms. So I don't know how it works, but the room's connected to the account, and these folk can send the gifts, and it does something in the room. So these guys are just trying to sleep. One will shoot BB guns at him. One gift will make the bed vibrate. One turns all the lights on, turns music on really loud. There's a bucket of water that'll fall. Kind of just you can
need
pay
a fucking hobby, man,
to ruin this guy's sleep.
This is madness.
There's ones where they're sleeping outside, and they'll fucking pay them, and the lights will come on and wake them up, and he's got to do like a stupid dance, and folk are just throwing money at him, making him do these daft dances on camera. Okay, some of it's quite dehumanizing, if you like, a bit humiliating and that, but if you're in one of these sort of, lower income countries and there's no work maybe, and you can do this and make fucking good bank, then fair play, I would do it too, do you know what I mean? But I just don't get the people on the other side of the phone. Mm-hmm. Like, monetizing it, I didn't understand, I didn't get it, I can't.
I've got no answer for you at all. That's bonkers.
So that's basically that. In a nutshell, that's what I was ranting about on TikTok, and
I'll need to I'll need to get my eyes on this. So if you see one of them, let me see it, and I'll check it out, because I can't get my head around that.
No, they're fucking. I bet I can find one right now. The only one I can find right this second is they're throwing money at this guy to just to do push-ups. So they're throwing money and then he'll start doing push-ups.
Let's have a look at this. Right, so for the listeners, we've got a guy on TikTok. There's 1,100 people watching.
But the ones they'll have 4 weights lined up, and and each weight in front of it will have a different gift amount, and they just have to either curl it or lift it or whatever they do. And the cunts, it's just wild, lad. They're more prominent at the weekends because that's when most folk are
sitting on their arse just watching this.
Yeah, throwing money at the guy. He's in great shape. Boy looks fucking on point, like. But
I mean, the world is mental, Mikey, isn't it?
It's broken, chap, huh?
It's fucking wild.
I mean, fair play to these folk capitalising on it and making coin. It's this side of the screen I don't get. We've ran it dry, lad. You'll have to use that camera for your intro and outro.
So what's the next one, no?
Don't know. We'll need to figure that one out.
You get it done.
Don't. I'll send you the ones. But the archive sounds decent.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's a good hum for. It's a good hum for. It's for sure. I don't know how long that's been like that. Bale's Day's not going good. Your memory card ran out of space and your missus' bike's been knocked. It's not a good evening for Dale.
And they say it comes in 3, lads. So something else is going to happen. Else. They say it comes in 3s. I didn't realise that had happened when we were on the one with Chris. Because I get to a point with Chris and he's stuck in and he's obviously explaining to him and then he's just been frozen. And I'm like, what is going on here?
It was good. He was a good guest.
Chris is sound. I'm looking forward to the Belfast show that they're putting on.
Are you going over?
Yeah, fucking right, I'm going over. So I'll be there. That'll be shit hot. That'll be good fun.
We'll get it wrapped up then.
I go for a chap.
2 hours 40.
Yeah, it was 40.
Fucking hell.
I know.
It's wild. Time flies.
Time flies when you're talking absolute dross, lad.
Majestic 12. You heard about Majestic 12?
Why? Yes, but I don't know why.
So Majestic 12 was set up after World War II to cover up the connection with the extraterrestrials, so they had access to information that was to be safeguarded. And the Majestic 12 was a group, the 12 high-profile government and military personnel that had access to it. So they had Majestic 12 access, which was above top secret. Bob Lazar says that his clearance was, I think he called it Q clearance, and it was 38 levels above he had Majestic level clearance, and it was 38 levels above the highest civilian clearance you could get. So Majestic 12 was the sort of 12 that were picked as the safeguarders of the information.
Be a cool position to be in, huh?
You can't go him to the boozer. Like, you talk shit to the boys. What have you been up to? How was your work today? Printer jammed and all that. We crashed a fucking UFO on the side of the mountain. Had to send up the boys to go and get it. Mangled to fuck. Element 115 all over the place with a gravity wave that fucked up that fucking pond up there, fucked it right up.
God, it's dried up now.
You know how they talk about the lunar pool and the lunar gravitational pool have the tides. You want to take a sport model up with a fucking element 115 and 3 grav wave emitters. Oh my God, what a fucking mess. It was the most one-sided water fight the universe has ever seen. Fucking water everywhere. Fish. There was fucking octopus on the military roof. Really fucked up. That's it. Byrd, you can't go within 500 feet of water with these fuckers. It just makes an extreme mess.
Be meant to. I think just knowing would be great. Said it before, there'll become a point in time where if the question's ever asked, be inclined to say yes, like.
Well, if you wanted to know.
Yeah.
You know, I think it'd be like the Matrix with red pill, blue pill.
I don't think we're in a Matrix. I don't think we're in a computer generated.
No, what I mean is like, you know, you get the option in the Matrix. Do you want the ignorance is bliss? You go back, it was just a dream, blue pill.
Yeah.
Or is it red pill, right? Go right down the fucking rabbit hole and
that'd be sound.
See where it goes.
I'd only need a half tab. I'm already fucking halfway down it anyway.
You've got your toe in, you might fuck it, let's just go.
Ah, this is it. Be interesting, like, fuck, okay. Sound. Wow.
What if it ends up like Fear and Loathing?
That'd be awful.
That'd be
Have
horrendous.
you finished it yet?
No, Mikey, I don't know. Like, no wonder you're as put off as you are.
Fucking
like,
right, lad.
Holy shitballs.
I came across that. I think I was fucking 13 or 14 when I first watched all that and read the book and shit. It's broken, huh?
Big time.
Yeah.
I'm up to the bit where he gets to, like, he was trying to escape Vegas and he gets word that he's to stay there and he's to move to another hotel and he's just bumped the hotel bill. In
the movie, that's hilarious because he's sitting doing adrenochrome just with like a towel over his head like a fucking dove, like, and they've kidnapped this fucking lassie and fucking Benicio del Toro playing the lawyer. They're just, that's brilliant, that scene, like.
Fucking wild. I remember going out and listening to it while I was walking the dogs. I put it on Audible.
Oh, who's narrating it?
Quite a good narrator. Like, he's got a good voice.
Ah, deadly, mate.
But I mean, I was like, I had to turn. I'm like, Mikey. I was like, man, I'm not fucking ready for this tonight. You need to be ready for this sort of story. This thing's fucking wild.
Visually, when they do it in the movie, visually it's really good as well. When he goes in the lobby and the carpet's coming alive and every cunt's a fucking reptile and it's fucking. Visually, it's really good how they've done it as well. It's fucking funny. Johnny Depp is brilliant.
Is he?
Really good at it. Good.
I've seen his interview with doing his chat with about Hunter S. Thompson. Him and Hunter S. Thompson were tight.
Yeah. Oh, they were. When is that the interview where he says how he met him in the bar in Colorado?
I don't know. I don't remember if I think he says he was introduced to him, and like they hit it off, and he went. Hunter S. Thompson had shown him how to read, and he was like the conductor showing him how to read the book.
Yeah.
So it was one of the greatest sort of bits of advice that he was ever given.
Because when he met him in a bar in Colorado, and Johnny's just sitting up the back of this bar having a drink, waiting on him, and all he hears is screaming and all these flashes, and Hunter's walked in the bar with a cattle prod, just zapping cunts and tells them to come on, and then they go out to his ranch. He opens a case of absinthe. No, sorry. First they make nitroglycerin bombs and go out onto the ranch and start shooting them with shotguns. And then he opens a case of absinthe. Johnny's like, I had one bottle and they've passed out. I woke up in the morning, all the other bottles were gone, and Hunter was in the corner talking to himself. And he's just like, what the fuck? And he's like, and that was his first meeting with him. And fucking all the interviews. Because, see as well, like Fear and Loathing, like what you're reading in the book, I think a lot of that is quite genuine. Like there's loads of interviews where they're trying to get him out of hotel rooms that he's locked himself in for days and he's talking to cunts on the phone. I think sometimes the phone's not even plugged in. You know what I mean? He's just walking around the room carrying this phone out his dial. Fucking be some mind to be inside for fucking 5 minutes, I think, like. You'd maybe need more than 5 minutes, but I think 5 minutes would be plenty. You'd be ready to check out. Even
just the book, I mean, I was just like, man, this is just like reading anxiety. This is if somebody says what is anxiety, go and read this book. This is fucking high tensile anxiety. This is taking your attention and seeing how fucking amped you can get it. As tight as a guitar string.
Like I think watching the movie after a couple of mushrooms would be an experience. Like Especially a big telly. I like a big telly like
big
yours.
one,
Move
aye.
the sofa close. You know what I mean? Pull it
Just get
forward.
right up close to it.
Get rid of that surrounding space and just fill your field of vision with that and just watch the movie.
I'm telling you, man, that
and you
is
would probably
fucking I remember the bit that I got to and I was going out in the park and I'm like, I can't fucking listen to any more of this. Like I've had
I need a break.
I just need nature. I don't need fucking high tensile extreme anxiety. This guy's transferring his anxiety through a fucking audiobook into my body. My soul doesn't need this now. Thinking, fucking hell.
I read it again when I lived in Amsterdam. That was good fun. Between tats going through the fucking.
I can't imagine the poor fucker getting tattooed having to listen to that. Or were you reading it?
I was reading the book, aye. Audible wasn't a thing yet when I was in Amsterdam. It was like 12 years ago now.
Fucking hell.
Some of the cunts used to get coming in the shop in Amsterdam as well. I had one guy, he'd been in Amsterdam about an hour. Some guy for London. He looked like the cunt for changing rooms. He had like a floral shirt on, burgundy cord, flares, a fucking John Lennon Beatles haircut with the round glasses. He's been there an hour. He's lost everyone he's with. He's lost all his luggage. He doesn't know where his hotel is, but he needs an Imagine tattoo. He wants Imagine. I'm like, come on in.
You're my guy.
I'm like, what do you
You're
mean
my
you've
customer.
lost? He's like, I can't find anybody. I don't know what I've done with my luggage. I've obviously left it somewhere. I'm like, you're going to cause a bomb threat in the middle of Amsterdam. Just a random set of suitcases left next to a bench in the middle of Dam Square. But he was off his chomp. I'm like, where are you going to go now? He's like, I don't know. I just left. I'll wander. I'll be all right. So, mate, on you go. He was fucking fried, lad.
Was he?
But they don't care in
What
Amsterdam.
did he fucking do in an hour? What did he manage to do it in an hour?
I don't know. I feel like he
How
might.
did he get that fucking out his box in an hour?
I feel like he may operate like that on a daily basis.
He's
the guy looked like he
predisposed to that.
up here
Right.
daily. He was fucking.
Didn't take too much to get to that level.
I don't actually think I've seen him walk. I think he literally floated.
He's hover.
I don't think his legs moved.
A fucking hovercraft of a guy.
Oh, he was fucked. Like, Amsterdam was someplace like.
I've never been. I need to go. Stace was there. She says she really liked it.
It's really good. Like, I imagine Stace would have went and done the tourism thing though, and just sightseeing. And you need to. That's the best place to people watch, because you've got different sections you can people watch as well. You know what I mean? You can go into the red light district at various points and just sit and watch people, and it's fucking tremendous. And then if you get bored, you can start taking bets on how long guys are going to be in with the hookers. It's always good fun.
Good way to. It's better than throwing fucking gifts at TikTok guys doing push-ups.
Exactly. These guys are putting a shift in, whether it be for 3 minutes, 8 minutes, or 10 minutes.
Having a time of their life.
They're putting a fucking shift in. It was good fun. Like,
Still be a funny story about they were talking to a guy in the airport, waiting on a flight. And this guy's just, facially challenged. Right?
sound. Yep.
You're not endowed with good looks.
Yep.
And he went and bought a lady of the night, paid like €350.
Fucking
Mega dough.
That's expensive. They're only €50.
Aye, but they'd rinsed them.
We need to be clear. Apparently, I didn't dabble before any presumptions are made, but you need to, before you step through the door, make sure every cunt kens what's happening, because all these rooms are interconnected to a flat above, and a big man will come and tell you exactly what you have to pay if the lady tells you. If there was no preordained deal on the table, there was no verbal contract spoken, and if she makes a number and you don't want to pay it, a man will come down and make you fucking pay it. So, best be paying it.
I don't think he had any of that. I think he just got caught up in the moment, enjoyed himself. Never even went the full way. It was just...
One of my mates was over there was
to be touched by a goddess. Something he knew was never going to be within his reach.
Honestly, lad, you've got a supermodel at your fingertips.
Aye.
There's a few different areas to it, but the main bit, like one of the alleyways, I can't even walk through normally. It's too tight. I have to go through sideways, and it's just women, and some of them they're supermodels, lad. They can be yours for a mere €50.
€50.
I know. It may have gone up now with inflation. We're going back 12 years, but chuck on your 10% or
That sounds like a better way to spend an evening than Fear and Loathing's sort of nights. That I think if you were going to buy ether or a supermodel for €50,
how easy it would be to get your hands on ether.
You probably need to go to like a fucking chemical store or something.
I'm going to put the question out there, and see if it is achievable. I'm not going to order any, but I just want to see if you can. But there's going to be somebody that knows. There's always somebody. Look at the stuff you can get. I mean, it's somebody knows somebody. I can pretty much. I know enough people to pretty much get my hands on anything, but I've never asked down the
If anybody's ever considered ether, go and read Fear and Loathing. I bet you don't go near it.
You'll change your mind rapidly. Most people on this won't even know what ether is. It's like the original anaesthetic.
There's craziness.
Okay, and it was medical grade banter, and Hunter drinks pints of it for a fucking laugh.
Craziness. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode of Conversations with an Investor with Big Mikey. Well, to say that we covered it all, we spoke about what is ether, both in the etherical sense and in the Fear and Loathing sense. Covered off Scottish magnificent mountains and going through 3 worlds in one hill. Discuss some of the continuations to the conspiracy theories. Governments are we going through a time where weak men create hard times, and is the next series up, hard times create great men. We covered off what the next Monroe should be, and if you are going to spend an evening, should you go to Amsterdam or visit your local cleaning supply store. You can visit us on all our social medias. Don't expect to visit TikTok and throw gifts for people sitting there doing nothing and dancing where they're full of some illicit substance. At least the guy tonight had some bench press and push-up techniques. Big Mikey, if you want to follow him on his social media channels, you can check him out. Make sure you find out when he's ranting up next. They'll all be in the show notes. You can follow me at Conversations with an Investor. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and from us, that's a wrap.